and I'm sure you'll have an answer for all of my takes as well. My name is Joe Murray. This is The Joe Show. It is about me. But if I want to let the caller speak, tonight is the night. 617-779-0985 on YouTube. What's up, fam? I know they missed us last night, the fam. But we're here all night long. Get on in there, YouTube. Search it. 98.5 The Sports Hub, and then click subscribe. You can join. I already see our good friends in there already, but that's the place you can watch. You can see the show live. You can chat in. And I already see G. Franks already saying, what's up? Skaz is here. It's just us tonight and you. So, what to get into? Well, there's so much right now. Obviously, the NBA Finals are about to tip off tonight, 8:30, Thunder and Indiana Pacers. Should be an interesting series. I don't know how it's going to do ratings-wise. I don't care, but I am interested. I am. I get some picks for you on that series and some trends that I think you should know regarding Game 1. That for you coming up in a little bit. Red Sox are off tonight, but there's a player, and Maz was talking about him, that I think the Red Sox should get some feelers on right now. Just feelers, you know. Patriots a little light today on the Patriots stuff, but I got a couple of analytics articles today. Oh, yeah. Analytics in football, yeah. Because the Patriots have added someone to their department. And, of course, where we're going to start tonight, it's hot outside, everybody, isn't it? But let's talk hockey, right? It's hot. Ice, get it? Well, the Bruins finally have a new head coach, and it's Marco Sturm. Coach Marco, everybody. Get the Sturm count ready, as the Bruins officially name Marco Sturm their new head coach. He becomes the first German head coach in NHL history, the fifth European head coach overall. He is the Bruins' first European head coach as well. Leadoff take. I think people have thought this for a while. I was at least open to something different. It's not a retread. I think we have to at least look into that a little bit here. A lot of these guys who get fired, they get jobs elsewhere, or if you move on from someone, they go elsewhere. So this is his first job in the NHL. Now, he's had assistant jobs. He was with the Kings for a while. He's been with Ontario of the AHL the last couple of years. Obviously, you know, when I say if Marco Sturm played in today's league, the way that he scores 25 mid-goals to 30, he'd be an excellent player in the NHL these days. But back then, he was a nice little, I'm going to say above average player. Nice player, had multiple stops. I'm sure everybody remembers the game winner that he had at the Winter Classic. I'm sure we'll play that later. While I preferred someone who wasn't a former Bruin. Marco Sturm is not a retread. He brings a solid track record from outside the organization. It's also an opportunity for the Bruins to reset the culture. It is refreshing. And I think youth should be the direction. And Marco Sturm has worked with those type of players. He's worked with veterans in the NHL as an assistant and has literally climbed up the ladder. And when he had an opportunity to work with some NHL players and older players, he won, a silver medal with the German team. So overall, on paper, take the name Marco Sturm out of it and how we all know him. Part of the Joe Thornton trade, by the way. This guy was had a track record of making it to the NHL as a head coach, whether it was this year or next year. So, on the other side of it, though, there's a couple of ways that you can look at it. I want to look at it as they did a thorough search. They didn't go the easy way out. I don't know if people rejected them. I don't know. Were they in on guys who didn't want to come here? We only really heard about a couple of interviews that they had. We kept hearing certain names, but they came down to two guys. Love, who was with Washington, and, of course, Marco Sturm. I was interested in the Love situation because he's 40 years old, right? He's had some great defenses with Washington, but I don't think he's had the experience of a Sturm, certainly. But I like the idea of a former fighter being a head coach and getting a young start. And if you're going to go with a youth movement, maybe go with a young coach. But I think the Bruins just felt better about Sturm. Now, he has no real ties to anybody on the roster. There's really none of that. Him and Neely, I'm sure, know each other. He probably had something to do with it. They know this guy. He's been rising. And Sweeney, throughout the process, our goal was to identify a coach who could uphold our strong defensive foundation. I'll get into that in a little bit here. And evolve offensively, which I think he'll help with. We're also looking for a communicator and leader, someone who connects with players, develops young talent, and earns the respect of the room. Marco impressed us at every step with his preparation, clarity, and passion. His path playing for multiple NHL teams, coaching internationally, and leading at both the AHL and NHL levels. It shaped him to a well-rounded coach who's earned this opportunity. Oh, and as a former Bruin, he understands what this team means to the city and the fans, and we're embracing a new direction with Marco behind the bench, confident in his energy, standards, and commitment to a competitive, hard-nosed brand of hockey, which reflects the Boston Bruins. So don't forget that one. They can sell Marco Sturm as a guy who knows about the original six, 100 years, knows what hard-nosed hockey's all about and what Bruins hockey should be. Blah! That's what I don't want. And that's not fair to him, by the way. He could have, I don't know, nobody else hired him. The flip side of it is you can be negative. Wow, the Bruins waited until the very last coach available. They wanted to be the last team to hire a coach. Like, it's kind of a sad look when you think about it. The other thing is this. I'm sorry, Marco Sturm. I do commend you in what you've done in your career. I think you're validated of being an NHL head coach. Is anybody excited by this? Is anybody like, yeah, Marco Sturm, they're going to turn it around? Oh, Sturm's coming in. No. Like, at least with Jim Montgomery, you're like, oh, well, you know, that guy brought Dallas to the, but he kind of had some personal issues. Like, at least people accepted that, but knew he was a good coach, right? Same thing with Butchie. Butchie was the guy. Butchie was the man. He needed another shot after his failure in Washington. He needed that. Everybody was on board. They were excited. So I'm kind of looking at it as this is a well-deserved guy, but they waited until the very, very end. Maybe they knew all along this was their guy because nobody else wanted him. It now sounds like they are now starting to think of a youth movement and a certain direction that they want to go in. They want to be a defensive foundation. Does that excite you, Bruins fans? I mean, they might need it after last year. Maybe their goalie can play better. But they're looking for a communicator and a leader. So you telling me there wasn't much communication and leadership on this team? Overall, I'm not excited about it. And I'm interested to know, Bruins fans, if you are. 617-779-0985. I do want to get into more of Marco Sturm and where he's been and just, you know, I don't know if this is the right move. I don't know. I think they don't know. They know they didn't want Joe Sacco back, though. He signed real quick elsewhere. Are you excited, Bruins fans? Do you think this is the guy that can get them back to the playoffs and back into the Stanley Cup picture? 617-779-0985. Talking to Marco Sturm. It's hot outside, but we're talking ice hockey. Here until 11 o'clock tonight. We'll get Skaz's thoughts on Sturm as well. We got in or out. We have the musings. Charlie Davies going to join us tonight from The Revolution. He also works over at CBS Sports. And we're going to do a little bit of... horse talk. As we got another big race this weekend. We'll certainly get into that. We'll talk with Seth from FanDuel later on in the show. We'll break here. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
And you hear all these things about how he's such a really good guy and how they loved him as an assistant coach with the Kings and the different things that he had his hands in. And then when he came down to join the Ontario Reign, it was nice to get to see his approach to working with the players. I know that he loves working with younger guys. There's a reason why the players loved working with him with the Reign. Obviously, I think that there's a reason why he was linked to some other jobs in the past as well. And I think it's the way that he works with young players, with the prospects. He said before, he views players, especially the younger ones, as if they're all his kids. So he takes a lot of pride in the individual successes that players have, especially those young players, but how that ultimately results in the team getting positive results as well. So it was really interesting to see him take that approach after he had been with the Kings for a couple of seasons, and then gone down to Ontario, where he really was. It's interesting. I kind of view Marco as kind of the CEO when it comes to a head coach, because I think he works better as a head coach than he does as an assistant coach, because he gets to utilize his talent different ways, and kind of have his hands in a bunch of different areas, as opposed to being an assistant coach focusing on one specific aspect of the team's game rather than, being involved in kind of everything.
Okay, so this is good, Skaz. All right, so let me set this up. Marco Sturm, new head coach of the Boston Bruins. He was the last team to fill a coaching job was the Boston Bruins. I'm somewhat in on the move because it's not really your typical retread. He's had some power play struggles and defensive struggles at the AHL level. Maybe when you're coaching in that aspect, you're trying to develop players and you really can't focus on those things. So I could get into those numbers if you really want. But generally when someone's hired, I hear about the great things. Like when Mike Vrabel got hired, to switch sports for a second, everyone's like, oh, Vrabel's back. But did you hear the people in Tennessee and what they said about him? They weren't happy. They didn't like it. But everybody just has the Patriots winning 11 games this year and everything's going to be fine, and Josh McDaniels, and we'll do that another day. With Marco Sturm, at least from what I've heard and read, this guy has, bounced around a little bit, but he wanted to become a head coach. The things he did with Team Germany, I think I'm really impressed with. But I like the fact that they at least didn't go with a retread, but they did go with someone they know. And I know he doesn't have all the ties like the past, like a lot of these other guys. This is why I want maybe the Bruins to go with somebody they have no relation to, who doesn't see things with Bruins eyes. And I know he's been gone for a long time. But I'm sure in his head he's going to be like, well, this is what Cam Neely probably wants, or this is what this and that. So I haven't heard negative things, Skaz, so I'm kind of interested to hear what you've heard, but I will say I'm not excited about the move. Like, I didn't get out of my seat. I'm not like, man, there's going to be a change here. Now I feel like they're going to go youth movement. And now there probably might not be another playoff contender again because they're going to develop talent. And, Sweeney really doesn't know what he has either. Right? We don't know what Minton is. We don't know what some of these guys are. Like, some of the Bruins players do make a lot of money. Do they have too many defensemen? Like, the job here, as much as I'm talking about the new head coach, doesn't matter if Sweeney can't do his job. For real. Now, I'm not saying I'm a hockey coach, but is there anybody that you could put in that spot and be successful with what they have? No. It's up to Sweeney. As much as I can get you about not being excited about Marco Sturm, it's Sweeney. It's the players. I mean, whatever coach came in here, did they want to deal with this group? Did they want to deal with Sweeney? Do they want to deal with Cam Neely or now Charlie Jacobs? There's a lot there. As much as they wanted to tell you this was a desirable job, was it really? And as I look ahead here, they got to sign Morgan Geekie. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with some of these other guys, but Pasternak, Lindholm, Middlestat makes almost $6 million. Zach is here. I think the kid Minton's going to have to play. But your defensive core is just loaded with McAvoy, Lindholm, Zadorov, and Peak, and you got to sign Low Ryan. You still got Swayman and Corpusalo. Like, that's a Don Sweeney fix. So whatever we talk about when it comes to a head coach here, Don Sweeney's going to have to figure this thing out, not Marco Sturm. Skaz, what'd you think of the hire?
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. I don't think it's a great hire. I don't know if there are many of those when you're the last team hiring a head coach, but I'm happy it's not a retread. I'm happy it's not Pete Lavalette or even Mike Sullivan or one of these guys who we've seen go places and do what they do. Alain Vigneault, Gallant, even Peter DeBoer. Like, I'm glad they're trying something different. I know it's still familiar. A guy that played for the team, but I do think his success with Team Germany is something that Bruins fans should be excited about. That's winning a silver medal in 2018 with Team Germany, I think, is a massive accomplishment. That's not an easy thing to do with that roster. So the criticisms you're looking for, the only thing I've really seen that I think is a knock on him is his power play. They ranked 24th in the AHL while he was there, so I think that is a cause for concern for Bruins fans. It's a team that has struggled to put the puck in the net outside of David Pastrnak. He was involved he had that streak where it was like 17 straight goals, 18 straight goals. It's not fair to Pastrnak. That you're not a good hockey team if you're that reliant on one player. So I think offensively there's still a lot to be worried about as a Bruins fan. But and look, there's a bunch of ways to look at this negatively. They were the last team to hire a coach. I'm sure he isn't going to be the most expensive coach that was hired. They're familiar with him, but I do think he's a guy that earned this job.
Absolutely.
This isn't just someone
he's merited.
Exactly. Like it wasn't just handed to him because he played for the Bruins. He's worked his way up through the coaching ranks.
Yeah.
He's earned a NHL head coaching job. He's been successful at and he's not the most successful, but he has improved every team he's been on, with Germany in the AHL. So this is a job he deserved. I do think he earned it. So in terms of that, I think that is a good thing for the Bruins, where it wasn't a retread. It is a little bit of a risk. I know people are going to say it was the cheap, easy option, but I do think hiring, your first European coach ever, a guy that's he might be the first, German head coach ever in the NHL. So, that is a little bit of a risk for the Bruins. The Canadians aren't doing anything like that. You got to be from there to be there.
You're right.
To be their head coach. So I give the Bruins credit. I think the process took too long. I didn't love the rollout. His Joe Hendry video there where he's turning around. I believe in Marco Sturm, I guess, is something we might have to be. Sturm, yes, Kevin Bajori. Sturm. So, yeah, I think there are reasons to be optimistic, but skeptical, as you should be when any head coach is hired.
You do, and now that they've hired a coach, Skaz, I'm starting to look at it as they could have put anybody there. It's Don Sweeney that's going to have to fix this. Maybe he is the right guy. I honestly don't know. So I'm going to be intrigued. I'm intrigued to see how this team needs to develop young players. They haven't been able to do that. Do you know what's another thing, Skaz? He'll be a first time NHL head coach. Do you feel like at times maybe Montgomery might have bumped heads with Sweeney or, Cassidy? Or maybe there wasn't a connection between some of the veterans and the coach or the younger players and the coach. Like Montgomery was too loose with the veterans.
I would say Cassidy for sure. Montgomery, I almost wonder if it was that second thing you mentioned where he was a little too, loose with it.
But now it's kind of like Sweeney can do his thing. And, it's not like Sturm knows what a GM's going to do or you disagree with what he's doing. Like, maybe this can be a collaborative effort. Like, if, they're at camp and they say, hey, we got to play this kid Minton on the second line, maybe Sturm can talk Sweeney into it because they maybe need to get stronger there. So why don't you try to develop your own guy instead of going out and giving up all your assets for it? I'm trying to talk positive of the move because every other guy that's been here they've been a championship team every time they fire a coach. Now they're not. They're telling us that. They want to get back to that defensive Bruins style, which I hated hearing, by the way. I don't want that anymore. I know you're an original 6 team. I know you've been 100 years. I know you're the big bad Bruins. I don't care.
You know who I thought would have loved those comments today, who's probably very happy about the Marco Sturm hire, is Jeremy Swayman. If that's the style they're going to go, if that's what they're going to emphasize, then it should be a bounce-back year for Jeremy Swayman. You have to hope.
Well, I'll tell you this. I thought Pasternak really changed his game last year. What I mean by changed his game, he had to do more. He had to pick up more. He had to play better defense. He had to try harder. He really did. But, man, he scored like hell, right? I wouldn't mess with him. I do think that if you're going to build around this one, you might have to do it with Swayman and McAvoy. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they look at it as they have pillars that they need to get right and what this move could be good for their pillars, but at the same time, continuing to develop some of their talent. Sturm's 46, first-time head coach. Last 3 seasons for the Ontario Reign. Mentioned the Kings AHL affiliate. An overall record of 119, 80, and 17. I don't look at minor league records. Mentioned the German team. He was there from 15 to 18. He's had NHL exposure, no doubt about it. 15 years in the NHL, 5 seasons with the Bees. He was a big part of the Joe Thornton trade, which really it's kind of like when you think of the Mookie Betts trade, the one player remaining is Connor Wong, and look how he is with runners on base. He's over. So Sturm wasn't bad. He wasn't Joe Thornton. Nobody was. Nobody could have lived up to that deal. And he's had highlights, right? He had a game-winning goal against Montreal way back when. He had that overtime winner at the Winter Classic. I mean, I think guy's got a lot of merit. It's not about the coach, everybody. It's about Don Sweeney. That's why I'm not so excited. All right, 617-779-0985. I did mention this as well. Dave Quinn and Joe Sacco joining Mike Sullivan in New York. So, Joe Sacco, we hardly knew ye. Jay's in Weymouth. Hey, Jay.
Hey, how we doing? Yeah, I just wanted to, you kind of touched on what I was talking about, but, I think they hired Sturm because he didn't cost a lot of money. I think these other people that they interviewed, they're leery of taking the job. Look what happened to the last 3 coaches, Everything's the coach's fault. And I think it's clearly a Sweeney and Neely problem. But, I'm optimistic. I hope for the best. I love my Bruins, and they're killing them. They're killing me. They're unwatchable lately, Do
you, as a Bruins fan, right? Does the move didn't excite you, did it?
No. I wanted, and I know nobody wanted the first 2 guys gone, Sullivan and
Laviolette, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Someone like that. But I knew they weren't going to get him. They weren't going to pay him.
No, but not that. Did they want to be here?
I don't think they did. Would you want to be here?
No.
Look at the.
When you keep firing somebody, you don't want to go work there.
They keep saying that it's a desirable. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It's a desirable position, but I don't think it is anymore. Like I said, we keep going back to the firing of the 3 coaches who did really good jobs, I thought.
You're the man, Jay. Thank you. Skaz?
Yeah, my question is why? Why would you want Mike Sullivan and Peter Laviolette? Why are you so convinced? Because he won cups with Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang and Andre Fleury? Like, you don't have those guys. I could have won cups with Sidney Crosby.
This. In my head, coach seems like maybe I'm conditioned as covering the Bruins is when they make the coaching change, Skaz, it makes them better. Or like it fixes some of the problems, but the problem has been development. Dude, you could go back to Claude if you really want to. Those young players, they couldn't develop them. No, they might have already been good. Dougie Hamilton was good right away. Tyler Seguin was good right away. I know that they needed to develop at the NHL level, but they were players. They just the coach couldn't work with them. They didn't have time for him. And then the guys were all having families, and they didn't want the young kids on the roster. There was so many. And when you think back at the Bruins run, a lot of egos on both sides, whether it's Sweeney, whether was the coaches, or the players. In the end, I do blame the players. I'm being serious. In the end, I blame the players for their losing. But there's no doubt about it. They're in this situation right now because of Sweeney.
Yeah, that overtime last night, Marchand missing a defensive assignment, that felt familiar in the Stanley Cup Finals. And for the people that want, and I like Mike Sullivan, nice guy. Sure, he's a great guy. But who's the last, young Penguins player to come up and, be good? One of their draft picks.
No, I think you're making a great point. I think we're conditioned to think that these, like, for example, the New York Knicks have an open job, right? Well, like today I'm hearing Jason Kidd. Like, if you're a New York Knicks fan, did you really fire Thibodeau for Jason Kidd? I know he went to an NBA Finals, but when you have Luka Doncic, isn't it kind of, and Kyrie Irving? To your point, Dallas would give guys away and do well elsewhere. So the Sullivan thing, I think it had something to do with Team USA, McAvoy, maybe considered the best coach.
Conflict of interest there.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of nepotism going on in this town. It felt comfortable, guys. Marco Sturm doesn't excite you. It might be the right move. It just might be. We got Justin and Lynn. Justin.
Hey, Joe, I just want to tell you, I'm not happy with the hire. I think he's going to bring a different responsibility. I don't put a lot of responsibility on Sturm coming in. I put the responsibility on Sweeney and how he grabs this and the type of moves he makes in the offseason. That's what I look for. And how this roster is built. That's how I look at it. I don't look at Marco Sturm as someone to come in and just turn this around in 1 year. I think it's going to take some time, 3 to 4 years away, maybe.
They're going to have to this kid Minton I like, Justin. I think if they can develop some of these young players that they traded for, right?
Yes.
And then Sweeney makes some pretty good roster moves.
Yeah.
If he's the guy and, has the experience and works well with young guys and mixes in veterans, they could they could spark.
That's what you and I talked about the last time we were together is the ability for them to build this roster to the way that they're supposed to. And put out some talent.
You got it, Justin. Thank you, buddy. Well, if you want a weather update, there are tornadoes and thunderstorms going through Oklahoma City right now. Our buddy Bryson is ready for game 1 tonight. He's already texted me. He's ready. He wrote a betting article, he said. So I'm excited for that. I do want to get into some of the NBA final tonight. You mentioned the Stanley Cup game last night. We'll do that. We'll continue to take your calls on Marco Sturm as well. And what does Don Sweeney do now? We'll tell you after the headlines here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Marco Sturm. He is the new Bruins head coach, 46 years old, previously with the LA Kings minor league AHL affiliate. back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I do want to get into the NBA playoffs, or the final, I should say, coming up in just a little bit. We're less than an hour away. Do have a thought on that. Just wanted to mention something about Marco Sturm quickly, and you can call in on it. I wanted to go to Kevin Paul DuPont on this because, he's, to me, I associate KDP with Bruins. So it's a crucial time for the Bees. Is Marco Sturm the leader they need behind the bench? He wrote, we'll see. Sturm indeed will need to change. Someone who can give the franchise a shot of seltzer down its short pants is what he wrote. That's TBD. What does that mean? Such is the case with virtually all new coaches, especially so with Sturm, given that he never really had full charge of an NHL bench. Generally, it's a league tough of such newbies. Right? Chris Knobloch, he's got the Oilers in his second straight Stanley Cup final. It's worked. He ascended a job right out of the AHL. Is this a trend we're seeing here? If Sturm has the black and gold in the Cup final for the second time in June of 2027, I'll bet Bruins fans will be kind of okay with this move. Although they're tough to please. I also bet Sturm would have a better shot at success if the Oilers this summer deal Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid to Causeway Street. I never thought of that. Sturm and Knobloch were both born 16 days apart. Sweeney, to much of his credit, has a sparkling track record for identifying the right guy at the right time for his team. I'd agree. He proved that. Montgomery, Cassidy. He did it again with Joe Sago, I guess. Hammer Sweeney all you want about the club's lack of playoff success. But, hammer away at their record, the draft, their misfires, their free agencies. But he's been one of the top managerials in the game at the trade deadline. And in this year, he's a March seller. So he's convinced Coach Sturm is the guy. And based off Sweeney's banked equity in making these picks, could be good enough. We can at least give the new coach the season opener, right? So we'll see. In the end, Monty got fired. We know about Butchie. Sturm began coaching in 2018. He was with the Reign last year. 938 NHL games. Couple of playoff runs. Now he's back in the hub of hockey. If they've chosen the right guy in Sturm, the Bruins are back on course. If not, it all falls down, taking Neely and Sweeney with it. That's one KDP. Let's go to the phones. We got Gage. He's in Charlton. What's up, Gage?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Hey.
Hey. So, going back to the bad Bruins development, same era as Sagan and Hamilton, they missed on Blake Wheeler, and Riley Smith. I mean, they turned into much better players than they were with the Bruins. They could have held on to them, but I feel like they gave up on them early.
There's probably more than we're not even mentioning,
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, just those two names came to mind.
You know who always I thought could play, but they never would have, was Ryan Spooner. I always thought
I love Ryan
center.
Spooner.
I just thought he could have been a third-line center, Just
he had that crazy either breakaway or penalty shot goal, and after that, I was a huge fan of him. Him and Seth Griffith. Yeah.
The problem was the coaches were veterans, right? They knew what it takes to win a Stanley Cup. They didn't have time for those guys. They would make mistakes night in and night out, and those guys, they didn't have the time for it.
Yep. Makes sense. It's just, there's a lot of names that could have been better players than the Bruins that just aren't.
Well, maybe Sturm's the guy to develop them.
I hope so.
We'll find out, Gage.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks.
Appreciate you, bud. Thank you. The Bruins. Well, the NBA Finals are about to tip off. You got a thought before we go?
I was just going to say, Blake Wheeler would have been a perfect Bruin. Great in the regular season. Never won anything in the playoffs. He was stripped of the captaincy at the end of his time with the Jets. So he was a very good player. I say that kind of in jest. But those Jets teams always floundered in the playoffs.
Well, Phil Kessel, did they move on from him?
I mean, I like Phil Kessel. He won a couple cups. Good
right.
player. Solid player. Likes his hot dogs. Would have been a friend of the night show, I'm sure.
Love hot dogs. Know what I would like? I would like to go to a hot dog fest where we get boiled, we get grilled, we get steamed.
Nicely sliced.
We get everything. Sliced, chopped. Maybe you could put like the hot dogs on a beans in a bowl. I don't know. I just want to try all. How about a deep fried hot dog? I want to try all the versions that we possibly can. Like have a dog fest. You know? Now, listen, there used to be this thing called the hot dog safari, and I worked it one year for Eddie Endelman. He doesn't remember because we did the show together, and he would just drop his headset when someone said hi, and we'd be live on the air. But that was when we were on AM radio, guys. And then it was just me being like, hey, here, and there's green ketchup, and come eat hot dogs.
Sounds familiar.
Where do you think I got it from? Game 1 coming up in a little bit here. Don't like the 10-point favorite tonight. I got some. You know who actually had this tonight? Julian Edlow, our good friend from DraftKings, had some nice little betting numbers regarding the NBA Finals Game 1. I would like to share those with everybody coming up in a little bit here. But before we do that, guys, did you see the Ringer's top 10 players in the NBA?
I saw it when you sent it to me, Joe. I'm not a big list guy, especially from the Ringer, but...
Not a big list guy.
Yeah.
So, number 1's Nikola Jokic.
I would agree with that.
SGA 2.
That's fine with me.
Giannis 3. Luka.
No.
4.
No, certainly not.
Steph Curry 5.
Yeah, ish.
Can't man. I mean, Anthony Edwards
6th best player in the league?
6.
No.
Tyrese Halliburton 7.
Certainly not.
Tell me when you hear Jason Tatum's.
I'm waiting.
Donovan Mitchell 8. Jalen Brunson 9.
Woof.
Jason Tatum 10.
It's a really good list.
You know, everyone has a list.
Can I give you my favorite part of that list? In the Jason Tatum description, did you read it? They say that he is the best American player in the world, I believe, and say that he is underrated.
Now, Danny Chow, I believe, wrote this. The way he processed winning a championship in 2024 by doing a series of impressions of past iconic celebrations, whatever it is, the awe that ought to be attached to a player like Jason Tatum is warped into more of an ick among the general basketball viewing public.
That's a real journalist right there. He's worried about the basketball. Who's actually the best basketball player? He's not worried about the aura or what the internet thinks.
I'm going to hit up Brian Barrett and get this guy on the air.
Feels like a waste of everybody's time, but let's do it, Joe. Let's do it.
No, I think people would like that. You got to be kidding. Listen.
We're green teamers, Joe. Jalen Brunson, much better player than Jason Tatum.
I'm sure.
You see him play defense?
I have. Guys, I'm sure at some point this summer they're going to move me from the night show and put me with Felger. And you know, he is sharpening his knives.
I disagree. I think Felger, I would imagine, is with us, hates lists. Mike Felger is not putting.
Mike Felger cannot agree with.
He's not putting Luka and Brunson and.
Well, him and I haven't communicated since the Celtics lost.
Joe, don't let the list upset you.
No, the list is not. This is a Felger thing now. I have to bend the knee to this man.
To who?
Mike Felger. I thought the Celtics were special.
They were not.
I thought they could win on pure talent alone, Skaz.
They could not.
I thought they were the best team in the league.
They most certainly were not.
I thought shooting threes wasn't their problem.
It was part of the problem.
Hi.
It's me.
I did say all year long that their biggest issues were rebounding and points in the paint. I was concerned about that, and I remember fighting with people about this. But when I hear him speak about the basketball and the Celtics, it's only about their philosophy and how they've doubled down. And I have to agree. And that sucks. But this list, it smells worse than that. This list stinks. This list is crap. Sorry, Danny Chow. Your list putting Jalen Brunson in the top 10, you're wild, bro. But is that how people feel? The viewing public has an ick towards Jason Tatum? I don't know. Last year, I felt like a lot of people loved the moment between his son. Know what I hated? Series of impressions of past iconic celebrations. What are they going to say now? Was that somebody else? I know there's a song.
Just putting that as a reasoning for anything in any logic of any sort of how he is as a basketball player shows that the article is irrelevant. Your thoughts on the top 10 list are null and void.
I think Tim Bontemps is actually a Tatum hater.
I think Celtics Twitter would certainly agree with you.
I don't even think he'd have that list. Right?
Who knows anymore, Joe, but I would like to agree with you.
I hope people aren't like, oh, you guys just love the Celtics and you're bitching about a list of a top 10. What I'm bitching about is people who just don't like somebody grades them that way.
Or not even that. The people that are just that impressionable by the internet, that your mind has been warped that much. And boy, did we see a lot of that on the timeline today. But it's a story for another time. But yeah, starting your article off with memes basically can't be taken too seriously.
Hey, I got to give the Ringer credit. They've been in the news a lot lately.
Certainly have been. Bill Simmons, the master of never beating a story to death.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is the business now.
Clicks, baby, clicks.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, kind of sucks. But he makes a lot more money than we do, guys.
Certainly does.
And I can't knock his method. Wouldn't work for me. Wouldn't work for you, I don't think. Remember we used to write articles and get clicks? It didn't work. I got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening.
against the Canadiens in a playoff game. And, well, now he's the new head coach of the Bees. Last night, Edmonton took Game 1 in overtime over the Panthers Game 2. Friday night, you can hear that right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. NBA Finals, Game 1, about to get underway in about a half hour here. It's kind of hard to find the game these days. And the Steelers, they have signed Aaron Rodgers. Headlines, they are brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning. Day or night, and always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Joe Murray, your next update in 30 minutes.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Adjective than that. Hey, Game 1 of the NBA Finals about to get going here. Oklahoma City. Do you know what they went this year as a home favorite? 34, 14, and 2. You know that's 71%? They're basically 10-point favorites tonight. 71% of the time they cover at home. Now, they did struggle to cover in the playoffs, no doubt about that. That's something that just kind of interests me. But favorites have been dominant in Game 1 of the NBA Finals over the last 20 years. 18-2 straight up. 17-3 against the spread. The only two underdogs to win Game 1 of the NBA Finals outright since 2005. The 2013 Spurs and the 2022 Celtics. But you know what happened? Both lost the finals. The last underdog to win Game 1 of the NBA Finals and go on to win the series was, Skaz? Do you know? Detroit in 2004. 20 years, dude. 20 years. So, in a way, do I watch this game tonight and not think that the Celtics are there? Like, I'm pissed. I am upset. I had this booked on my calendar. I thought we would be going over pregame or handing it over to Grandy and Max for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and instead, I'm watching the Indiana Pacers and the Thunder. It bothers me. I'm pissed about it. I hope they're pissed about it too. I just have to remind you all that the Celtics were supposed to be that team to go back-to-back. I'm trying not to make this about the Celtics, but it's really hard not to think of them. It's really hard for me. The Oklahoma City Thunder were the best team in the NBA this year. They had the MVP of the team. They have a great young core. Their coach is 40 years old. Like, Sam Presti's the best general manager in the NBA. They have first-round picks galore for years to come. They're one of the best drafting teams. I actually think it would be a huge upset if the Pacers won this series. I'm very interested in the line for the Pacers to win. I can't do it. I'm going to take the series to go over 5.5 games. That's my thought on this whole entire series. I think OKC probably wins in 6. Probably. But I think the matchup will come down to bigs. I believe that whatever duo of big men plays better, that's who's going to win. I think Turner and Siakam have a legit shot to at least attack Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. So what is the biggest question in the finals? Is it Halliburton versus SGA? I think it's the bigs. But can the Pacers get Halliburton to be a scorer? Because if he is, they're lethal. Now, he also can give you 14 or 12 assists a night. Can the Pacers get enough stops against the Thunder's offense? I think as far as being a big, they can do that. Oklahoma City scored 123 points per 100 possessions this year. And they did it all against the Pacers as well. They smoked them. Can Indiana find a way to limit Jalen Williams? Can they keep Chet Holmgren off the boards and maybe keep him inside more than outside? And does Oklahoma City supporting cast have enough? I think the Pacers do. I think with O'Connell, Bryant, Mathurin, those are three guys they can lean on. Obi Toppin as well. I think the Pacers are deeper than the Thunder. I do. But in this series, it's going to come down to the best six. I think the Thunder have the better talent. Coaching, though, I go Rick Carlisle. I'm sure they're comfortable. Like, I think the Pacers feel good about winning the series. I think they belong there, and quite frankly, they do. Know what I heard today? I heard that the Pacers had an easy road to the playoffs, guys. Have you heard that before? A team with an easy road to the finals?
A path talk.
So what do they have? Cleveland? New York? I can't even remember who they played in the first round. Probably doesn't matter. And then, I don't know, OKC's hard for me. I mean, that's a pretty good team right there.
They played Giannis in the first round.
Oh, Milwaukee. So Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York.
So they played the third best player in the league in the Bucks. Then they played what, the seventh best player in the league in Donovan Mitchell?
Right. Seventh in the league.
And then they played what, the eighth or ninth in Jalen Brunson?
Ninth, guys.
I mean, you just played three top 10 players.
7, 9, 2.
3 top 10 players in a playoff run, Joe. That's a tough run to me.
So 21, 4 divided by 21. So yeah, that's not a great path, right?
How many games the Cavs win this year? They win a lot of games.
Way over 60, right?
They the number 1 seed in the East.
They were.
Pacers beat them.
Pacers beat them.
Easy path. I can follow the logic there. That makes a lot of sense to me.
New York Knicks knocked off the defending champions.
Easy path. They fired their coach.
Milwaukee did have Doc Rivers.
They also had the third best player in the league, Joe.
It's true. That is true. I'm going over 5.5 games, guys. I'm 50-50 Thunder. I really want to bet the Pacers, dude. I really do. I just think that's a bait line. So I don't know who you have for predictions, guys, but I'm going over 5.5 games.
For us, Joe, I would love over 5.5 games. It feels like the overwhelming sentiment is Thunder in 5. My wish, my hope, I would like to see Thunder in 7 or Pacers in 7. That's just for content reasons. Just from a pure basketball standpoint, I don't really see a way the Pacers win this series. I'd love to say that, Halliburton goes nuclear, OG Anunoby, or not OG Anunoby, Siakam plays great, like all those things. I just think the Thunder, their defense is too much, their talent is too much. But, probably said the same thing when it came to the Pacers playing, the Cavs and stuff like that. One of the best teams in the league. So, yeah, Rick Carlisle, I do think, does have the coaching advantage. We'll see what he has ready for game 1. I'm interested to see how Nembhard does against SGA. I think that could be a big matchup.
Who has the most at stake? I think it's SGA.
Joe, I would love to agree with you, but he's already the darling. He's already won the MVP. Like if they if they lose, Joe, it's not going to be like if the Celtics lose because it's Oklahoma City. If they lose, they were too young. They weren't ready. They got out coached. You'll hear all of it. They'll be back next year. All of it. I would almost guarantee it, but I don't think they're going to lose. So it's SGA's year, one of the greatest seasons in NBA history. First team All-NBA, MVP, probably win the finals MVP. So I don't see anything other than that happening.
All right. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. You heard our picks. Game's just about to start. They're interviewing SGA right now. He's jacked, huh?
Believe he will be mic'd up tonight as well.
Man, I didn't realize he's like jacked. He's fast. That dude is fast. He sometimes reminds me of Rondo. Way better, but the smoothness, I guess, and how the way that he can get into the paint and do whatever he wants. The foul merchant, is that what they call him? Hey, it's Shaq. Was this what they're doing? They're introducing everybody now? Hey, it's Shaq and Kendrick Perkins are hugging. Are they friends?
That's where he'll be next year. So
Shaq or Kendrick Perkins?
Joe, come on.
Just as an analyst.
What are we doing here? They're both terrible, but give me Shaq every day of the week.
Thank you. Matt's in Norwood. Matt.
Joe, you really think the Celtics belong playing against the Thunder there? You think that that's a good matchup?
Did I say that?
You said you wish they were there.
I said I do. I do.
So do you wish they were there?
I wish they were there. I mean, do I think the Celtics could play against the Thunder? That's a different question if that's what you're asking me.
Well, yeah, I am asking that because
Matt, I'm pissed that the Celtics... Listen to me. I'm pissed the Celtics lost to the New York Knicks, and they're not in the finals. They were the best roster, if you ask me, in the league, and they're not there. So you know what? Yes, I'm pissed.
Yep. You should be.
Thank you.
The problem is, Porzingis wasn't going to do crap.
All right, fine. Can they still go?
They don't have the bigs.
Doesn't matter if they lose. I wanted them there. You're not getting the point. I thought they should have been there. We should have had games here. I wanted to go to the damn games. I wanted it.
They should have been there.
Thank you.
They should have made it. How's that? They should have made it.
Yes.
But you know what? They're so streaky and inconsistent, it was not going to happen.
I don't know. Put a former champion in the NBA Finals? You think they're just not going to show up? See, I won't buy that one. Without Jason Tatum, I'd buy it, though. Hey, guess what we're going to do next, guys? We're going to talk to Charlie Davies. Man, everybody loves this guy. I was getting emailed questions to ask him. I hear him on the Saturday show with DJ B, and he's, of course, a part of CBS and our Revolutions broadcast as well. We're going to talk to him next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. People were very excited about our next guest. We tweeted out that we're going to have Charlie Davies on the show tonight, and he joins us right now here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Charlie, you're on with Joe Murray and Skaz. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Well, listen, I know you're doing your CBS Sports thing. I hear you on all the Revs broadcasts. I hear you on the soccer show with DJ Bean, man. So, I've been listening to you for a long time. I love your story, man. The battle that you've had yourself, man, years ago, and what you're doing now, man. I'm a big fan of yours. So, we tweeted out today that you were coming on, and people were sending me questions to ask. So I wanted to lead with this one. This is something I've been brewing. The Revs have a 9-game unbeaten streak. That's a good thing to me, but some people think that it's a tired act, or maybe they're not playing to the talent of a 9-game unbeaten streak. What are your thoughts when you hear that, and what should be the pushback to people who are like, yeah, I'm sick of hearing it's a 9-game unbeaten streak?
Well, I would say for anybody who's watched the Revs for a long time, 9 games is a good run. Of course, this isn't the part of the season where you want a 9-game unbeaten run. You want this towards the end of the season where you're heating up for the playoffs, because in MLS, typically it's the teams that do well towards the end of the year that go on this run. You know that they're destined for a deep run in the playoffs. And the Crafts have always stated an MLS Cup is the goal, nothing less. Just making the playoffs isn't good enough for the New England Revolution. So given where they were last year, you're saying, oh, my God, this is a team worth watching. Now you want to come to the stadium and watch when you have a player like Carlos Gil, who doesn't come around too often. He is a gem of a player. So he's one worth the price of admission. I can give you that. He's worth coming to watch play. But it's a little bit in the middle. You don't want to go too overboard and say, hey, this team is MLS Cup destined. They're ready. Because it's a good run, but it's not a run that you say, oh, this is one of the best teams in the league, which is what New England fans want to hear. This is what they want to see, a team that is competing with the best in the Eastern Conference, the best in Major League Soccer. And I think there are a few pieces away. Now, given that, this is a good run. They're 10th place in the East with 2 games in hand. This is a team that I think has really went from rock bottom to start this year, where I think people are questioning, is Caleb Porter the right guy? Maybe he's looking over his shoulder and starting to feel the pressure, to making a drastic change in their formation, the way that they play on April 12th. I'll remember it like it was yesterday against Atlanta United, where they got that massive win in Atlanta, and it seemed to kind of change the locker room chemistry. I think it changed the vibe around the team, and they've been able to push forward since. Is this a finished product? By no means. But I think if you're a New England Revolution fan and you've seen this team over the past couple of seasons, you have to be encouraged.
I completely agree with you. We said, hey, if the Revs are good and they're playing good, we're going to talk about them here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And they have been. I'll tell you, we were calling it the bump, the night show bump. We had Eli Feingold on the show. Since then, He's got 3 goals, right? We had the goalie, Ivacic, last week. I mean, this guy's pitching shutouts and clean slates. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so Charlie, you might get the bump now too, but I agree with you. I can't remember a time where we've been like, hey, Adam, who can we get on the show from the Revs tonight? Because I do think they are exciting, and the game of soccer is just exciting in general, but MLS. I watch some of the games, on the app. I'm watching I'm watching everywhere. But my whole thing is I'm excited about soccer again. But I hear Coach Porter every week. I now can actually know the guys' names and what they're doing, and I do think they've developed a nice little interesting team here with some young players and veterans.
They have, and what I love, I think one of the things I love most about this team is there's a good mix of youth and veterans and the experience. So when I look at a player like Peyton Miller, by the way, if people haven't seen Peyton Miller, he's 17 years old, and this kid is a star in the making. He's a left wing back. He plays with the youth national team, but he's a positive kid. He's got the right mentality. He's he has respect for the players who have done it before him. He's eager to learn, and he's got some pace. He's got wheels. So for New England fans that love speed, a game changer, Peyton Miller, as primarily a defensive player, is really creating a lot of problems for opposing teams. So at 17, he's got a really bright future. So come to watch him. And then you just mentioned Eli Feingold, a 20-year-old on the opposite side. So you have two young players who bring so much energy and dynamism to this team. So I think from that fact, it's really entertaining. It's opened up the Revs. They can give more room to Carlos Heel, who's a magician in the middle of the field. And then you have a player like Fofana in the middle, and they needed to add some defensive players to strengthen up this team. And Mamadou Fofana has been an incredible addition to this team because he brings this experience, this calming presence in the back. He reads the plays so well that happen in front of him, so he can put out a lot of fires. And ultimately, I just think that they're missing one more dynamic attacking player that can play with, a Shankala, a Carlos Heel, and if they're able to find that one player this summer, I think that could be the difference maker for this team in the end.
A listener asks, his name is Russ in Walpole, do you think Peyton Miller has the potential to be a starter someday in the Premier League?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. When you see kids, I've played for such a long time, and I've seen so many young talents across the world. I mean, my club in France was known for developing talent. And, in Sweden, I've played with and against many of the youngest talents in world football. And so when I see Peyton Miller, he has some of the things that you can't teach, and that's the pace, that's the quickness, that's the anticipation, the eagerness. Where he will continue to fine-tune his ability is just making the right decisions, when to go forward, when to cross the ball early versus getting to the end line and whipping a ball in, when to come inside and underlap a winger. But those are things that are so easily coachable. And he's one of those players that will listen and grow and learn. So there's no doubt in watching him play, he has the physicality and the intangibles to play in the Premier League one day and be a starter on the weekends.
Yeah, Charlie, I just wanted to ask you, you bring up Peyton Miller, a guy who could play in the Premier League someday, but the U.S. national team is playing this weekend against Turkey. And, I like the hire of, Pochettino, Coach Poch, whatever. I still feel like I'm butchering it every time I say it. But
you're almost there. Pochettino.
Yeah.
But
he feels like a guy who is less afraid of the MLS than USA coaches in the past. I think that's a good thing, but it seems like there's some questions, some criticisms around the guys like Pulisic, Weah, McKennie, Giorena. All these guys aren't going to be around for this next stretch of the Gold Cup. What are your thoughts on the roster and just his start so far as the U.S. men's team's coach?
Yeah, great question. A coach like Pochettino, who has coached the best players in the world, in PSG, he had Lionel Messi, he had Neymar, and he had Kylian Mbappe, right? So these are three of the most dynamic world-class players that we've ever seen, especially in this generation, the best that we've seen. And, when you coach players at the highest level, he's gotten to a Champions League final with Tottenham. He's coached PSG. He's been able to take, I think, gems and undiscovered talent or talent that really haven't fulfilled their potential yet at Southampton and put together promising performances, so much so that Tottenham ended up signing him. I think when he came into this job, it's one of those, I wish I had more time, and I think we all wish he had more time. The fact of the matter is he has 1 year to get this team ready. And like you said, he doesn't care where you play. There's no MLS stigma with him. It's whoever has the right mentality, whoever's going to add to this group. And one of those players playing this weekend who I think stock has rose through the roof is Diego Luna. And we've seen him with Real Salt Lake, taking steady steps forward to become this game-changing player, a player who can produce. And he has 8 goals already on the season and 4 assists with Real Salt Lake. The next guy on his team has 1 goal. So this is a young player with a lot on his shoulders already at the club level. And then in one of his first appearances for the U.S. men's national team, he gets his nose busted. It is absolutely gushing blood. They take him off. The trainer, I think, is telling him, hey, let's take a substitution. Let's get you off. Your nose is still dripping. And he's telling the coach and the trainer, get me back on the pitch. I want to play. Are you kidding me? I'm not coming off the field. He goes back on the field. He can barely see with his eyes flooded with tears from the nose, and he gets an assist. He won his spot right there. Pochettino spoke about it glowingly, about the mentality. It's not so much, oh, I'm playing hurt, I got a scar, and I'm gonna scratch and crawl my way onto the pitch. It's just the mentality of, I got this one opportunity, I'm not letting it slip. I'm going to show the coach, I'm going to show the team, I'm going to show the country what it means to represent the United States men's national team. And he wants that to rub off across all the players, from the MLS player to the Christian Pulisics of the world. And so that's what we're hoping to see from here on out. And I'll be there Saturday in Hartford. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm bringing my family. So I'm optimistic that Pochettino will reach this group, because it's not so much teaching these guys as it is, I need to get the right mentality, the effort, and putting the right group of players together to get the most out of them. So that's his job, and he's got a lot of work to do from now till next summer.
So it sounds like you're not as concerned as, the internet loves to freak out about everything, but you're not as concerned of those guys missing out on these games, Pulisic, Dest, those kind of guys not being around the team right now.
No, well, we would all love to have the team full strength right now. But in reality, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. Today, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And in the past, I've obviously been guilty of it. I've lived through it, where no matter what's happening in your life, that may take away focus, or you may prioritize your sport over something that should be prioritized. I think nowadays with this new generation, they're focused on what's best for them in their life and moving forward. And so I always tread carefully when we're talking about players missing and asking for rest or asking for time off, because we always assume, they just want a nice little break on the beach and they want to play golf, but we don't know the stresses that they go through or the things that are happening around them. So Christian Pulisic is the only one, to my knowledge, that has asked for a break because of this grueling season. Now, Weston McKennie and Timothy Weah, they're not there because they have the Club World Cup. Gio Reyna's not there because he has the Club World Cup. Anthony Robinson's not there because he had surgery on his knee. So Sergiño Dest is there for these two friendlies, but then goes back to get ready for his season with PSV because he had missed most of the year with an ACL. So, you have the core there, and Yunus Musa asked for personal reasons. He asked for time off. So, again, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. What I do say is, when one door closes, there's another opportunity for all the players there in camp right now. And so there are a few players, Quinn Sullivan, Alex Freeman at right back, and Paxton Aronson. Those three players are young, their first opportunity in camp, and they have a lot to look forward to and a big chance to impress Pochettino and the group. So that's kind of where I'm at. I always find the positives in some of these situations.
Appreciate opening up about that. Charlie Davies joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I got another U.S. men's national team question. I know you were a part of it. I watched Lamine Yamal today, right?
Oof.
And this guy, I'm a collector, like memorabilia and everything. So Yamal, I'm in on it. But now he's starting to score more goals. He had a couple today, right? And Spain just keeps getting better. And I just think about the U.S. men's national team. How are they going to get better and compete when you have guys like Yamal out there?
Well, let me put something in perspective for you, because I agree. I mean, when you see Lamine Yamal on the field and what he can do as a 17-year-old, let's get that clear. He's 17 years old, and he can make the most decorated veteran professional look like a kid on the pitch. That's how good he is. Where a double team's not good enough to mark this guy. So, people have been very hesitant to compare him to Lionel Messi, of course. Both started at Barcelona, and Lionel Messi went on to arguably be the best player of all time. and Lamine Yamal is ahead of him at the same age. So naturally, those comparisons keep coming up. But he is a special player. You have Nico Williams on the other side, a special player. In midfield, you have Pedri. So just to put it in perspective, in 2009, I always go back to this, Confederations Cup, we played Spain. In the same situation, they hadn't lost in 2 years after winning the Euros in 2008. Now, they went on to win the World Cup in 2010, and they went on to win the next Euros in 2012. But in 2009, the tournament before the World Cup that no longer exists, I wish it did, we ended up having a miracle happen for us where we got on to get out of the group into the semifinals in a group with Brazil, Italy, and Egypt. We beat Egypt 3-0 on the last day, and we got through to the semifinals. This Spain team, like I said, hadn't lost in 2 years. They had Cesc Fabregas, Xabi Alonso, who is now the Real Madrid coach, Fernando Torres, and David Villa, both center forwards up top. And then you had Puyol, Piqué, Casillas, Sergio Ramos, some of the most incredible, legendary players of all time. We beat them 2-0. So what does that tell you? It's not about the names on the paper, or the names on the team sheet. It's about how you execute a game plan and how everyone has to work together. And we've seen it with, Team USA versus Russia in the Olympics, the ice hockey, the miracle on ice, right? The best team doesn't always win. The team with the most talent doesn't always win, especially in a World Cup when you have a whole country behind you and you're using that as motivation. What I'll tell everybody is we just need all these players to be, one, fully fit, two, in a rhythm and in form coming into the tournament, and three, with the right game plan, the right tactics. Pochettino has to make the right substitutions, has to make in-game management to tweak lineups and formations. And if that happens, if we can check the box, there's no telling what this team can't do in the World Cup. So that's my thing. I'm with you. This Spain team is so special. And you look on the other side today against France, it was a 5-4 game, right? It was 4-0 to begin with. And the other side had Desiree Doué, who just won a Champions League with PSG, Olise, who was just incredible with Bayern Munich this season. The other side is Dembele, who just won a Champions League with PSG, and Mbappe up top. So how are you supposed to stop that as well? So the game ended 5-4. You look at the U.S. men's national team, a keeper, starting goalie who was on the bench all year, and Matt Turner, obviously a former New England Revolution player, was very good in the World Cup in 2022. I think to a lot of people's surprise, given he wasn't a starter at Arsenal. But since then has just been bench-ridden, who looked very shaky in the last Nations League match with Panama and Canada for that instance. So you're saying, oh man, this isn't good when your keeper is not playing, and then your back line is very young and inexperienced. How are they supposed to stop a Spain or a France, right? To potentially make a deep run in a World Cup. And that's just two teams among maybe 10 to 15 teams that have stellar attacking players. So, again, it's got to be a little bit of everything. And I'm optimistic, and I think that if Pochettino can get these things right and players take care of what they got to take care of, we have a chance to shock some people next summer.
The sport is so growing. Like, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, me as just a radio host, and PSG's on over the weekend. Like, you got a big game today. It's just, it's in your face all the time. I check out the Revs when they're on. But do you feel the game is growing faster, better? Is the game better now than maybe when you played? Like, what are your thoughts on the rise of just football in general?
Guys, let me tell you something. I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, all right? That's all I got to say. I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire. I didn't see a professional game until my 8th birthday, and it happened to be the World Cup. And I'm so very fortunate that my dad's coworker was like, hey, I got some tickets. You want them? And just handed them over to my dad. And it was South Korea versus Bolivia. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was so moved by the fandom, the supporters, the face paint, the waves, the tailgating. The game was 0-0. What I didn't care about the game. What stuck with me for the rest of my life was everything around the game. That's what moved me to say, I want this to be my dream. I want to make this happen. So to go from no one playing soccer in my neighborhood to never seeing it on TV, to then seeing the Revolution born in '96 and getting the opportunity to go to a couple games here and there, for birthdays or friends would invite me here and there, to seeing every day you can go on YouTube. By the way, I didn't even have internet. Then we had dial-up internet. There was no YouTube clips.
Yep.
Kids can have access through their iPads, through YouTube, through all the NBC Sport Premier League games. CBS gives you soccer up the wazoo. They have a whole Golazo Network channel dedicated to soccer 24 hours a day, which I'm grateful to be a part of and grateful that I got to help build that. But it is remarkable where the sport is today. And the kids, the talent that I'm coaching right now at the U9 level. In the fall, it'll be U10. I'm getting the opportunity to have 2 camps with the Revolution this summer. So for everybody listening, if you have kids from the ages 8 to 16, it's a finishing camp. We have goalkeepers. We have, again, anybody can score goals. So defenders to midfielders to strikers. But we're learning how to score goals June 30th to July 3rd and August 4th to August 7th. So you can look on the Revolution website. But I am so moved to see so many people care about the sport and how important and how it's grown so much. And I know the Revolution are on the cusp of acquiring their own stadium site around Boston. So again, what a game changer that would be. So I owe a lot to the New England Revolution for helping me understand the game, to watch the game, and then getting to see the crafts, create the Revolution, getting to work with the crafts, and then getting to know them. I'm sure, as you know, they're a special family, and they do a lot for soccer in this country, in particular New England, but a lot for people in New England with all their generous donations. So again, I'm a very fortunate person to be where I am today, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank everyone in New England who has helped me along the way and has helped the game along the way.
Well, you're also legend Charlie Davies now. And by the way, you mentioned that game. Skaz looked it up. Nice little 0-0 draw. The final score 0-0. What is that? June 23rd, 1994.
Yeah, nice little 0-0. My birthday was June 25th, and I remember watching all the games at home at that World Cup because it was the first time I've ever seen soccer played professionally.
Oh, yeah,
and so,
it was great.
Yeah, I mean, the whole country, I think, was mesmerized by it. It really was able to generate a number of top-level people to say, hey, let's create our own professional soccer league. And here we are in 2025 with a league that is maybe top 10 in the world and only going to get better after this World Cup.
Yeah, well, everyone's happy you gave Manch Vegas a shout-out. So
Manchester, New Hampshire, all day.
Oh, got to go to the Farm Bar and Grill. Maybe we'll get some barbecue there some night, Charlie.
Hey, don't tempt me.
Hey, listen, don't tempt me. All right, don't tempt me. Skaz will love that, too. We'll take the ride out.
While we're at it, let's stop at the mall in New Hampshire and
there we go.
Grab some General Tso's chicken.
General Tso's. So good, man. Hey, but one more thing on the Revs before we let you go. The fan voting ends June 12th for the MLS All-Star team. Who is Charlie Davies picking for the All-Star team?
Well, I can tell you right now, Carlos Gil is a starter, no doubt, within this team. He's been such a special player. He still brings it every day. We know Lionel Messi is going to be in this All-Star game, so I hope he's ready and available and can play. Those 2 players obviously stand out. Diego Luna, I think, as an American, with 8 goals and 4 assists this year in 16 games, has been impressive. He's really, I think, turned some heads and has grown a lot, so I think he'll be involved in this All-Star game. Diego Rossi and Hani Mukhtar, Denny Bouanga with LAFC. Those are the special players in this league. And so, again, I hope we get a competitive game and these players can continue to show the people in this country just how special the players in this league are.
All right, voting runs through June 12th. He's Charlie Davies. Charlie, word on the street is you're a thoroughbred. Your kids are also great soccer players. Is that correct?
Well, they're getting there. They're getting there. It's always. I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there who also coach their kids, and the pressure that is, always going to be on them. Maybe it's unfair, but you demand and expect a little bit more from your kids. And if I'm on the sidelines, it might be a little bit greater. And so I think they've done a really good job of balancing that pressure and still finding the enjoyment of the game. I'm always conscious that you got to make sure it's fun. You have to make sure it's fun. Otherwise, kids burn out. And so they're little soccer players and little lacrosse players. They play with Massachusetts. So I'm sure there's a lot of lacrosse families listening, and Massachusetts has been an incredible program for my kids. So I'm all in on Lax right now, even though I don't quite fully understand it.
Well, he's Charlie Davies. He's a Revs legend. You can hear him on the call of the games, and of course with DJ Bean on the Saturday show here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. If you're kicking around at night in Manch Vegas, just put on 98.5 The Sports Hub. You'll hear myself and Skaz talking about food and other things, and love talking soccer with you, Charlie. Great story, my man.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Anytime, by the way, anytime. If there's Revs players are slacking, don't be afraid to give me a call.
Yeah, you got it. Maybe we will take that trip to Manch Vegas someday. That'd be fun. And the casino. And that General Chow, we got to grab that, too.
I'm in.
You got it. He's Charlie Davies. Appreciate you, man. We'll catch up soon. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Charlie Davies, everybody. Revs legend. Soccer analyst, CBS Sports, Revolution. Always love a Manch Vegas shout-out. The farm, Foundry. Oh, we could make this a nice little field trip. Night show goes to Manch Vegas. You ever been to Manch Vegas, Skaz? You're in the other side of the world.
Yeah, I've been there. Well, maybe once.
No, there's General Chow Chicken. The farm, though. The Foundry's great. It's a great area. I love him.
Yes, tremendous. He just infectious attitude.
Did you hear him talking about? He was talking about I mentioned Yamal. He started talking about everybody else. He's like,
Nico Williams, a stud. Yeah, that Spain team is something else. But USA, hopefully, you're going to see some guys you don't usually see with the team this weekend. So, Turkey's no slouch either. They're a legit good team.
Real quick, when it went to Foxborough, those games, I had a friend who was the mascot at the time. And I just watched for the mascot. But I watched, guys. And I really was watching about the traffic at the old Foxborough Stadium. Ooh. Oh. Charlie Davies, excellent job tonight. We're going to go to break. I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Bruins have a new coach. It's Marco Sturm. You know him. First time as a head coach, though. Great guy. Great job. Love him. Where did I meet you?
At a Hooters when I was working for the street team.
Dude, Charlie Davies was awesome.
He was really good. Great.
I wonder if we just asked him about, like, queso dip versus guac.
He would have had a take, I think.
I think he would have. Like, I was bringing up some things, but for those who don't know about this guy, he battled cancer years ago. Came back. He played for the U.S. national team. He's played for, like, 3 different MLS teams. He played in Europe a couple of times. I didn't know he was actually from Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm ignorant because I didn't know this, but I thought he was like a European player. No.
Local guy, good guy.
Local guy, good guy. Now I want to go have barbecue with him. Maybe we'll have him in some night. That'd be fun. You know what else is fun? In or out? Let's play that next here on 98.5 The Sports Zone.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, game one of the NBA Finals underway. End of the first quarter right now. Thunder have a 23-15 lead over the Pacers. 1:22 to go in the first quarter. Marco Sturm, the new head coach of the Boston Bruins, announced today, 46 years old, led the German team to a silver medal, was previously with the LA Kings minor league affiliate. And, of course, you saw Brad Marchand score last night. Well, maybe you did. Maybe you heard it. Because we'll have the game tomorrow night of Game 2 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub between Edmonton, who took Game 1 over the Panthers. And Aaron Rodgers is back with the Steelers this time. Headlines are brought to you by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy, because I do that, with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. I'm Joe Murray. Next update soon.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
Yes.
I feel like I should slide that onto his desk.
Leave him a little note.
Everybody, how's Macho come home tonight? Take your shirt off.
Pretty close.
Who needs shirts anyways? Movies. And Nick Jonas, though, it's a big role. He must want it, right?
I suppose. I guess they want someone that can actually
Were
sing.
they like
I
this
guess.
person or that person? Well, this is Jonas. You think about all the people who go. I don't know. I hope he's good at it.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't know if does he act? I don't know. I feel like he's been in like terrible Disney movies, but I don't know if he's ever been in an actual movie. So yeah, should be interesting. Joe, let's head to the world of music and unfortunately AI.
Oh, jeez.
Timbaland has officially signed his first AI artist, Tata the A-pop, artificial pop singer. Timbaland's new AI record label, Stage Zero, will combine human input and AI to create new genres of music. The AI artist Tata, her debut single, will be dropping soon. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Timbaland's AI record label and signing his first AI artist?
Huge Timbaland fan. I think he's an incredible producer. Look what he did for Missy Elliott when he was with Timberland and Magoo. I mean, he kind of resurrected. I shouldn't say resurrected. But he catapulted Justin Timberlake's solo career. I just think he's a producer who actually baby girl. Oh, Aaliyah. He had Aaliyah back in the day. I just think he always had a what you come all around my way. He's got good little liners. He had one with was it Nelly Furtado?
Was it Promiscuous Girl, Timbaland?
Was it? Oh yeah, Promiscuous Girl. Promiscuous Girl.
Great song.
Wherever you are. So now this guy who's this behind the scenes genius who can mimic have voices, whatever, now has found an AI version. Oh God, it's going to be good.
That's kind of the fear.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm out because I'm of fear. But dude, I think it's going to be good. This is one of the. We're not going to be able to say names of producers anymore. But who was more successful after 2000? Timberland or Diddy?
Timbaland.
Music-wise.
Timbaland.
Yeah, absolutely. Which means Diddy, done. Diddy, done. We won't do that today. I guess Diddy was staring at jurors today, and now they don't want him in the room anymore. I think he should be in there and just listen to everything he's done. Unless they just arrest him and put him on a Zoom. He's still going to look at the jurors anyways.
We've seen how those Zoom calls go in the courtroom before, Joe. Not always great.
Next.
All right, Joe, we'll head to the stage. We'll head to Broadway for this next one. Tom Felton is reprising his role as Draco Malfoy for the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child stage show on Broadway. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Tom Felton being Malfoy again?
I'm in on this. This is how I know this guy.
Yeah, but he's got to be like 40, right?
Who cares? He reminds me of King Joffrey from... They're not the same person, are they?
No. King Joffrey is much younger.
No, but they're like brothers. They're both jerks.
Evil children,
yes. Yes, evil. Yeah. Yes. I'm 43. If I have to return as something, I'm coming back.
You ever in a school play, Joe?
I sang Beauty School Dropout in Greece. Something you've never seen before.
Never
seen
Greece.
I would have no clue about what I'm talking about.
I was Tiny Tim once. That's about it. God bless us, everyone. I think that was my only line.
Yeah, I sang Beauty School Dropout. No graduation day for you.
You got video of that?
No. Come on. It was 1995.
You never know.
You think we had a...
You never know. Still waiting for Wilt's 50-point game. You know?
That's true. Wait, yeah. Yeah, Malfoy in. Hey, bring back Elijah. Is it Elijah Wood was...
That's Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah,
he actually has gone on to do some successful movies.
Like Green Street Hooligans, right?
Great movie. Emma Watson's been very successful.
I like her. What about Ronald Weasley?
Yeah, I should know his name.
And then the guy that was in
Rupert
Dogma.
Grint, I think is his name. I feel like he was in like a horror movie recently. I feel like he's kind of indie movies. But yeah, not a great career.
Skaz was tiny too.
Yes, I was.
No.
To find the picture somewhere.
That's funny. I don't know. Malfoy in, sure.
All right, Joe. We just did AI music, but we have some new music. Fridays tonight at midnight, Joe. Lil Wayne will be dropping the Carter 6. The Carter 6 tonight at midnight. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the Carter 6?
In.
How could you not be?
Wayne.
It's Wayne.
The other thing, too, is do you see all the collaborators he has and everything? Like, how are you not going to... No, you know what, though? My whole thing is, when it comes out at midnight, I'll be sleeping.
You'll be asleep by midnight? Come on.
I like to go to... Well, I'll get home at 11:45.
I was going to say, that's impressive.
You're right, because I do like to... You know what I do when I get home? I put my bag down. I stare at the fridge. And then I have that... Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Should I eat or go to bed now? And that's what I do. And then I stare at what's in the fridge. And then I say, should I eat or should I go to bed? I do that for about 5 minutes. And then I go to bed. Because eating before bed, Skaz, it's caused a lot of weight on my... Talk some horses. Simon Bray from FanDuel next on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
For the best deal on tires, head to Town Fair Tire. We beat every competitor every day on every tire. Tire dealers, we beat them. Clubs, we...
on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Well, we got the final leg. 3 big races in horse racing this year. We got a couple of guests from FanDuel. Why don't we talk to another one here? Simon Bray from FanDuel Television joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston. Simon, how are you tonight?
Good. I'm great, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, the Belmont has moved to Saratoga. So, wait, you're 2 hours or in change away from where we are here in Boston. I had a chance to go to the track within the last year. Fantastic place. Why the change this year? Why Belmont to Saratoga?
Yeah, but Belmont Park is undergoing some reconstruction, a big, huge $450 million redevelopment. So this year, the Belmont Stakes was moved up to Saratoga to accommodate the construction and the redevelopment. So with that said, the Belmont historically has run at a 1.5 mile distance, and they can't run that distance up at Saratoga with the way the track is configured. So the race on Saturday will be run at a 1.25 miles, the same distance as the Kentucky Derby. So, last year, 1.25 miles, this year, it's been done before 8 times. It's been running at a 1.25 miles in over the 100-year history, but that was way back in the early 1800s. So it's kind of unique, but don't worry. A couple of years or in 2026, it'll be back at Belmont Park.
Oh, we love Saratoga. It is such a nice – the town's beautiful. I'm sure it's a great time for you. Hopefully the weather isn't bad. We could talk about wet tracks in a little bit here. But, Simon, I'm kind of interested in your story. I know you're an analyst now, but you started as a trainer, I believe, working for your family, and were a trainer for years, retired, now an analyst. What, did you just grow up on the track? And tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. No, but I was born and raised in England, actually, where horse racing is kind of more of a mainstream sport. You'll see it more in the, back in the day before, no internet and that, when sports was on back pages of newspapers and that. Horse racing takes a big place in the UK. So I grew up there. My father owned a lot of horses. Then I got into horse racing, and I got out of school and junior college and went to work for a really big trainer over there. And then one of my good friends at the time, unfortunately, he's a very successful trainer here in the U.S. Called Christophe Clement. He unfortunately just passed away last week, who succumbed to a battle of cancer, but he was a tremendous trainer here. He made the jump to the U.S. A couple of years after he came here. I came here and visited him on vacation, and then he got me a job with world-renowned trainer Bill Mott, and I started at the bottom again, worked all my way up, and then I became a trainer for a very good client, Alan Paulson, that owned a very good horse called Cigar, trained by Bill Mott.
Yep.
And then I trained for about 7 to 8 years out here in Southern California. I'm based in Southern California, and then got an opportunity. Did a little bit of stuff with TVG at the time, with now FanDuel TV. We were kind of America's home for horse racing, and they liked some of the stuff. So then I made the jump to the dark side.
Well, here you are. Speaking of the dark side, hey Joe, everyone's asking me who do you like this week, and I'm torn. But I think this is being built as a heavyweight fight, right? As obviously you got sovereignty and journalism, right? 2 of the winners here. People love the Triple Crown. It's not into effect, but I know that you could have bet, Derby, versus Belmont, et cetera there. But is this really hyped up to be sovereignty and journalism? And do you think one of those horses win, or do you think there'll be someone else from the pack?
It is. Look, there's no Triple Crown on the line. This is the next best thing you could have. And what's played out the last 3.5, 4 weeks in our sport is incredible. We had sovereignty beating journalism in the Kentucky Derby. 99.9% of the time, the winner of the Kentucky Derby will automatically run in the Preakness 2 weeks later. But Bill Mott came out. He's a gentleman I worked for. He was my mentor. I came up under him for 7 years. Great trainer, great horseman, one of the best Hall of Fame. He came out with a quote, I think it was 3 days after the Kentucky Derby, and said, you know what? The Preakness is never on our radar. It was a race we never figured. My horse is perfectly fine. He probably could have won the race, but we're going to elect to skip it and run it in the Belmont, which is one of the most craziest quotes I've ever seen in sports. That's like a PGA player, winning 3 in a row before the Masters and said, you know what, I just don't feel like the Masters is for me, so I'm going to skip it. I mean, it's crazy. So the matchup is there. It's East Coast sovereignty versus West Coast journalism, winner of the Preakness. winner of the Derby. They ran 1-2 in the Derby, and it's a head-to-head matchup here. Now, when you get to the Belmont Stakes, you get a lot of horses that either skipped the Preakness or didn't run in the Belmont. And that's been the trend the last 14, 15 years. Out of the last, I think it's 14 Belmonts, 12 of the winners skipped the Preakness, or they didn't run in the Derby and Preakness. They were fresh horses. Only 2 horses that won the Belmont. They were both Triple Crown horses, Justify and American Pharoah. Mm-hmm. I think this year, Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby winner, gets the job done. I think he bucks that trend because I think if he had run in the Preakness, Joe, I think he would have won it. I think we'd be looking at a potential Triple Crown on Saturday afternoon if Sovereignty had run in the Preakness. He didn't. I'm going to take him in the Belmont.
So the one thing I liked about Sovereignty, and I mean, I don't think he's had the horse has had a bad race, but he rallied, right? Wasn't he like 16th, rallied all the way back? But now they've had that time off, like you said. I mean, I like it as you're an analyst, but you also were a trainer. Like, does that 5 weeks give the edge, or could it, could those 5 weeks be a deterrent, I guess, to win this race?
Right. I mean, that's the question. It's rust versus rest, right? That's what we like to say. I think it gives him an edge. Typically the Triple Crown is set up. The Derby run the first Saturday in May. 2 weeks later is the Preakness, and then 3 weeks later after that we have the Belmont. Every day and day to day in our sport, horses wouldn't run back in 2 weeks. They wouldn't make the run in the Derby and then come back in the Preakness. It's just too much for them. So that's why the Triple Crown is hard. So in this situation, I think it gives them an advantage. I've watched this horse way back to last year. Watched a lot of his training in the morning. He's still improving. He's a big horse. He's developing. Anything he did 6 to 10 months ago is a bonus because he wasn't bred and designed to run that early. He's bred and to be a mature, late developing horse, a Triple Crown horse, and that's what he is. So, look, he got shuffled back. There were a lot of bad trips in the Kentucky Derby. Journalism had a bad trick. The horse that I think is going to take a lot of play is the third place finisher, who probably out of Journalism, Sovereignty, and the third place horse caught by Asa, out of the three of them, he had the worst. He got stopped cold in the Kentucky Derby. Different situation here. Not a field of 20, field of 8. He might get a cleaner trip. He was rolling at the end. He actually went past Journalism and Course Sovereignty after the wire in the Kentucky Derby. So he's going to get a lot of play, and he skipped the Preakness. He comes in fresh, too.
All right, we're talking about horse racing analyst Simon Bray from FanDuel TV. I know they have coverage all weekend long as well. I just wanted to ask about Journalism. I asked you about the 5 weeks off, but 3 races in 5 weeks is also very difficult. But I thought Journalism was like far and away at one point looked like maybe the best horse. Again, I'm just a guy who just loves to bet on the ponies, right? But
right.
3 weeks, 3 races in 5 weeks. I do think that maybe that could give them the advantage. I think this is why it's worth watching this week, because there are storylines with both horses, and I always loved the long shot here, but Journalism I did think looked spectacular in the previous race.
He does. Look, he hasn't missed a beat. You're right. He's been on the go. He ran in March. He ran a month later in April. Then he ran a month later in the Kentucky Derby. Then he ran 2 weeks later in the Preakness. Now he's running 3 weeks later in the Belmont. He's almost undefeated. He's started 7 times. He's won 5. His one defeat was in the Derby when it was just bad luck. It looked like he had the lead, and then he just got run down by Sovereignty. And then he lost his debut, which he can, any horse can lose their debut first time out. He's sprinting when he's really, a distance horse. He is really good. He's the real deal. I'm watching him train this week. He looks the same as he did 3 months ago. The campaign he's had has taken absolutely nothing out of him.
All right, I got to ask you about Rodriguez. Right, we know the trainer. We know about the jockey. Like, could Rodriguez could it spoil here in this race? And can you tell us a little about Bob Baffert and the trainer and the jockey in this match?
Yeah, Baffert, one of the most successful trainers in our business. Won the Kentucky Derby 6 times. He's won the Belmont. He's won the Prix. He's won every race known to man. And this year, it was the first, he was suspended from Churchill Downs for a couple of years. He came back, and it hasn't been the Triple Crown season that he would have wished. This is his last hope. He did no good in the Derby, no good in the Preakness. Rodriguez, he was going to run in the Preakness. He had a foot issue. The advantage Rodriguez has here, and I think this would have it might have played out a little better had this race run at Belmont Park where it's a mile and a half. He's a speed horse. He likes to go to the lead. So the advantage he has, he's going to jump out of the gate. He's wherever he is. Sovereignty's going to be behind him. Journalism's going to be behind him. Baeza's going to be behind him. And in the Belmont, the pace of the race at a mile and a half at Belmont Park in downstate New York, that helps him a little bit. It's shorter here, the distance. It might, I wouldn't say it hurts him a little bit, but the advantage he has up here, this is a much tighter track. It's much tighter than Belmont Park. Belmont Park is a mile and a half in circumference, big sweeping turns. He could have got an easy lead, but there's also an opportunity for a deep closer, those big white turns to make him move. Yeah, he might get on the lead here at Saratoga, slightly tighter track, scoot around there. He has got the chance to upset on the front end. There's no question about it.
All right, and I got to ask you, if it's a wet track, I know Sovereignty took care of business in the Derby, but if there's a wet track, is that another concern? Is there a horse you'd look at if it was really wet, say this weekend? The rain's coming, I hear.
Yeah, I mean, look, any of the top three players, Baeza, Journalism, and Sovereignty, they've all proven over a wet track. The crazy long shot I would give you here, just as maybe he doesn't win the race, he'll finish underneath, is a horse called Crudo. He's another speedster. He's bred top and bottom to like a wet track. He's by Justify, who won the Triple Crown. That means his father's Justify. He's lightly raced. He's going to be a massive number, but he's owned by trained by Top Fletcher. He's owned by celebrity chef Bobby Flay, who's a big fan of the game, loves Saratoga, and John Velasquez. He could be the bust-out long shot.
I'm excited for this weekend. I'm excited to see your coverage over at FanDuel. I will tell you this, if you're kicking around a coffee shop out there, you got to try that Uncommon Grounds. Oh, my God, the coffee and the food, it's spectacular. So if you're kicking around, that's one of my recommendations over there, the Uncommon Grounds. Enjoy Saratoga. It's a great time, Simon. Really appreciate your time here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Should be a great race this weekend, and everybody can find you on FanDuel TV this weekend?
That's right. We'll be around on FanDuel TV. Yeah, each and every day. Not only this weekend, but each and every day.
I love that. All right, Simon, I really appreciate your time here in Boston. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
You got it. He's Simon Bray, everybody. FanDuel Television. It's a matchup, I shouldn't say for the ages, but I'm telling you, two of the better horses this weekend. Journalism, Sovereignty. And I'm going to bet Rodriguez. He mentioned Crudo. Now I'm thinking about it. Who's this Crudo guy? The ponies. Yes. Where else can you get soccer talk and ponies? He didn't bite the cheese on the Uncommon Ground.
He was not. I was wondering.
I got stonewalled.
Not interested in the extracurriculars.
You know.
He's there for business, Joe, not pleasure.
Like Charlie Davies, he saw the hook and was like, "Let's go eat, bro."
Simon, all business.
Simon was like, "I'm from England." You know what, though? Trainer to analyst.
Talk about a guy that's in the know.
But, yes. You know what's funny? Do we ever say like, "Oh man, that's Bo Bichette, his dad is a pretty good player, and now he's going to get another kid on the way, and then it's his uncle." See, we do it in wrestling, right? Like, "Oh, Haku's kid is Jacob Fatu, and did you know that?" It's just, it goes really far, Hey, did you know that Mr. Perfect's kid is Curtis Axel? Like, holy
Joe,
smokes.
is there more nepotism in wrestling or in the professional horse racing world? And I'm talking about the horses.
God, got to be the horses,
right? Wasn't every horse in the Derby was like a direct descendant?
That's right.
That's WWE. It's pretty close though.
It really is. Like Rick Steiner's kid is now Braun Breaker, and the bloodline is just everybody's dad. Rikishi's got the Usos and Solo. Jeez, I don't know. That could be a good bit next year.
Wrestling family or horsing family?
Put it down, Skaz! Yes! We have created a bit. We have manifested our own bit.
We might be limited with the horses, though. If every horse is related to, Secretariat or whatever, there's only one guy.
So this one is related to Secretariat, but who's the trainer? Or the jockey.
The Baffert line.
That'd be great. Everyone loves it in the chat. John Cena, reverse nepotism. You're damn right. Love Mr. Cena, Johnny Fabo. We got to go to break. We got to hit the headline, too. I'm Joe Murray.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right. Well, the betting line's 9.5, and Oklahoma City's winning 52-40. So I think a lot of people are happy. 1:43 left in the second quarter. What else is going on? Red Sox are off tonight. Marco Sturm. I feel terrible saying Sturm. listening because I've been contacted by plenty of our staff after that last headline. Whew. That was funny. I laughed. So we had a horse race guest, and it's at Sarah. Man, I can't believe we missed out on that one, Skez. Do you think the station would have sent us to Saratoga?
A live broadcast from Saratoga? I'd be in on that.
I got a guy. The guys at Surfside could hook us up. They got a nice little spot right there.
I'm sure your friend David Ortiz might be there this weekend. I believe he has a place up there.
Yes. We the Sweet Slugger is an outstanding product. He did something this weekend, David Ortiz. But yes, he is my friend. For those who don't know this, I hosted a cannabis event with the hottest cannabis agents in New England or Massachusetts, can't remember. And it was me and David Ortiz at a Capitol Grill. And when I talked to him about, all he could say is how much I like to eat. And I said, "Is that all you know about me?" He said he loves chocolate. This brings me to the Red Sox. Why don't we just do a little Red Sox? Two things I wanted to mention today. Craig Breslow was asked today, he did an interview somewhere, would the Red Sox move on from Alex Cora if things don't turn around? Quote, "We're always going to be anchored to what is best for the team. And we have a lot of confidence in Alex as the leader of the group." So is he calling Alex Cora an anchor? Like a anchor, like weighing you down. He's won in Boston as a player. He's won in Boston as a manager. We have conversations daily about everything that we can do to get us back on track. That's where our focus is, and that's where it will remain. Just don't forget, the other day, Cora said it's the same things over and over and over and over. So is that what the everyday conversation was about? Oh, they're pointing fingers, these two. Lot of finger pointing. Also, Skaz, I have a developing take. Ceddanne Rafaela. Could he be a pump and dump? Hear me out. The easiest path for the Red Sox to promote Roman Anthony would be to play him in center field or the outfield. And, I guess you could move Rafaela to the infield if you want, but move Anthony to center. It hasn't happened. The Red Sox see Rafaela as one of their truly elite defenders in baseball. And they think he could have a break. This is The Athletic. He could have a breakout akin to what Cubs' Pete Crow Armstrong has delivered this season.
PCA.
Rafaela currently third best F-WAR among American League center fielders. His base running metrics are among the best in all of baseball, and only Crow Armstrong has slightly better defensive numbers in center. Skaz, I ask you, would you trade Ceddanne Rafaela with his long extension to promote Roman Anthony?
I'd trade Jarren Duran is what I would do. But I do think something like that, one of those players, is on the table. There's a report that there are Padres scouts at the Woo Sox tonight. They've been linked to Jarren Duran as well. Maybe a package deal there, Duran and a prospect for who knows, a pitcher of some sort. I don't know the Padres, roster or system all that well. I'm fine with moving any of the outfielders not named Roman Anthony. I'm fine with that. I think Wilyer Abreu is a guy I'd like to keep. A Gold Glove, 30 home runs. So I could be convinced to trade him as well if the return's right. So I'm not attached to any of them, especially with the way the team looks right now. How could you be?
I don't follow the teams, guys. I'm not one of those people. But you posted that or maybe you mentioned this a little while ago, that a scout from the Padres is at the Woo Sox game.
That is what I believe is being reported tonight.
Smoke, there's fire. What do you think?
I hope so.
What would the Padres have? If you're a Padres for Duran, what is it?
Fourth or fifth starter, probably. It feels like something the Red Sox are
not a. Have you ever saw Manny Machado's contract? By the way,
a lot of money.
They deferred it all.
That's the new thing in baseball.
No, but if the Red Sox, he's $37 million a year. Actually, that's not bad. Do you know that Machado's been playing third base? I thought he was like a DH now. It's not Tatis. You're not doing that. I just don't know what they did, what they could give. Like, what do the Padres have that's worth moving on from Durant? Again, I would move on from Durant. I would. Just give me a, give me somebody that you could trade. And the thing is, the Red Sox could take on salary, so I'm not against them making a big move.
So this from Bleacher Report. Take it for what it's worth. Trade proposal: San Diego Padres get Jarren Duran. Boston Red Sox get right-handed pitcher Jeremiah Estrada.
Okay.
And shortstop Leo De Vries. And it says he's the Padres.
Still wouldn't do it.
Padres' number one prospect.
I still wouldn't do it.
Why?
Pitcher is the number one prospect?
No, the shortstop is, which doesn't do anything for you. But what does Jarren Duran do for you long term?
Long term, good question.
I think Jarren Duran is a nice player.
I think he's their third best hitter.
That means your team stinks.
No, you're right. Skaz, you're absolutely right. It wouldn't be Dylan Cease, right? You don't want Pivetta back. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe I think Duran's better than that, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Best prospect in a system and a pitcher, or Duran, who's in a crowded outfield. Not to mention the password's coming up next, right?
Yo Stinson.
And he's a outfielder.
You put him anywhere. The password, he'll play. I know, yeah.
I'm in on the password.
Very in. Hits bombs.
Got a lot of his cards. A lot. You know who else's cards I have a lot of? Blaze Jordan.
He got called up recently.
I think he could be the first baseman of the future. Could he? Why not?
Can't be worse than what they got now.
I know. I almost just said no bleep. Wow. Remember my F was a little Yui the other day?
Just a tad.
I almost just dropped a no bleep. I caught myself. I actually covered my mouth.
You did.
Last night when the caller called in and I was like, I was talking to myself. I was going, just trying I don't want to yell at everybody. But I've had people, I posted it onto social, that's why. But last night the caller who called in and he was like, hey, Joe, I just wanted to come at you for a minute. Why don't you just let the callers call, man? And my whole thing was, I think what I actually said was, history shows you that when the Red Sox make a big move, like with Bloom and Dombrowski, it's always been before a Yankees home series. So I pulled up the schedule. I saw a Yankees home series on June 13th, and that was my take. So I didn't think it was everyone knew that. Right, wasn't he trying to say I was just saying stuff everybody already knows or whatever?
Yes. You're regurgitating.
Did anybody else say that? Honest to God, I was busy all day. I didn't listen to any radio station.
Not to my knowledge, Joe, but I did have people send me that tweet that you tweeted out. Caller, what did you tweet? Callers run the show?
Callers run the show.
Our buddy Kyle Irvin sent that to me and said, Joe is hilarious. This is the best. So he was a big fan of you calling out the caller.
I called him a bitch.
Yes.
I said I said it was a bitch move.
Which it was.
It was. Where's Kyle? When's he coming back home?
He's in LA now, but we'll get him.
No,
he's coming back in a couple weeks, I think.
When he comes home, we'll
get him in studio.
Put him right in that chair over there.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can get your those taco guys.
Maybe he'll bring you some Flying J's or something.
Oh yes. Oh, tell him we have free parking.
A big plus. Free parking,
and we have lots of Celsius. That's all I could give him. We don't have anything else. Should that be it? Hey, if you want to be a guest on our show, we'll send you a can of Celsius.
I mean, it's
what else
it's
do we
something,
have?
Joe. Yeah.
All right, now I'm being silly. Do we have that call from last night? You're gonna have to dig for it. I don't want to make you have to work, guys.
I mean, Joe, I can just go to your Twitter and pull up the video.
Yeah, do that. Let's do that. Which one was better though? The guy North Shore Beefs, Andy Ferg. For those who follow North Shore Beefs. They grabbed the other call from Joe
Yes, where you thought he was getting dirty with his beef,
Yes.
but he was just getting personal with his beef.
Why did I think dirty when personal? Is it because of Christina Aguilera?
I think it's just, beefs get you going, Joe.
Gotta get dirty. All right. Well, let's hear last night. His name was Sean and Spencer all night, and Sean's and Spencer. He wants to talk. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, bud?
How you doing?
Good, you? Hey, I'm not trying to be a hard ass, but you have an hour show. Let some callers call in and get their opinions. The whole show isn't about you and what you have to say, because you're stating the obvious. So let the callers call in and debate about that.
Okay, let's debate. What do you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about anything. You said call this number, and
you're just calling me out.
Yeah, I'm totally calling you out, man.
Yeah, why?
You're stating the obvious. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
Let the callers come in and have their opinions, and you debate about that.
Okay. Let's debate.
Take care, brother.
No. You call me out, I'll call you out. Oh, what a bitch move. Oh, you call me at my job and tell me how to do my job, and then I said, okay, let's debate, and then you hang up? Oh, that's a...
Let the callers talk, but I, as a caller, have nothing to offer.
Skaz,
I don't have a take.
Sorry, I'm stating the obvious. I'm stating the obvious.
Please call in without your takes.
Please call in without your takes. Till 8 o'clock tonight, 617-779-0985.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a crap move. What if someone called him at his job and did that? Hey, man, you showed up to work. You're just doing the bare minimum every day. We could hire anybody else to do that job. I wish I could call him and tell him that at his job. Or does he have a job? I don't know. Like, I want the smoke. Seriously, I want the smoke. But that was weak.
There was no smoke.
That was ashes.
Yeah, that was
asses.
That was, please let the callers talk, but I have nothing to talk about.
Just shut up.
That's tough.
All right, bro. Well, listen, we got hockey coming on in a half hour. You don't have to listen to me anymore. Well, I will say, not to be a hard ass. When someone says that, Skez, they're going to be a hard ass. Hey, with all due respect, here comes the disrespect, right? He's a great dude. I love him. But the next thing he said, the show is not about you. I could have said, I didn't. But do you see the name did you see the name of the show?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is the Joe Murray Show.
We don't call it that, but it's the name. It's not about you. It's not about me. You're right. It's not. Last, it was stating the obvious. I thought I was giving some good intel on that. Maybe when I think it's good, it's stating the obvious. Oh, well. All right, well, that's a trip down memory lane. I don't know. I guess I don't know if anybody heard that last night. I also said I want the smoke. I do. Like, if you're going to call in and be a jerk, be a big one. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. You were going to say something.
You've censored yourself tonight, Joe. I was just following in your footsteps.
Do you know what's funny, though? Because when I cut that and posted it. But when I was going, that's what I do when I'm really pissed off lately. Instead of raising my voice and putting energy, and now I go, and it's how I don't say what I'm gonna say, so I hum. It almost sounds like I'm baking a pie, or maybe putting some cheese on something after it just got out of the oven, or salt pay.
You're floating to the windowsill of a freshly baked pie.
JP checking in. Joe, you let JP talk all night. Bleep that guy. You're right. You're right.
I think the beef caller was much better. Much better caller.
All right. Hey, Joe, that guy was bum. So I didn't know what to say to him. So I go, hey, man, what'd you have for dinner tonight? And he goes, and he just started giggling like, and then he goes, I love a North Shore roast beef. I get so personal with them.
It's been an interesting couple weeks on with the calls. The guy, a drunk bicycle caller the other night.
Yeah.
Been an adventure.
We need a can we call it a prank bank? Well, we're already at the Sturm count. And now I have people sending me 90s Boston Bruins at me like Joe Juno. All right, well, this hour of the Sports Hub, which we don't really remember what we did, is brought to you by Valvoline and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 50% off an extra oil change at Valvoline and Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. You're right. If you miss a few days of the show, the best stuff happens. And know what happens next? Why don't we just do it? Musings. I don't know. Skaz has something, he said. Yeah, you told me. That's what you told me the other night. All right, we'll go to break. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Thunder, 67-55 lead right now. 6:50 to go. I guess it's not just underway. Marco Sturm. He's here. He's a Bruin again, but this time he's the coach. And Game 2 will be tomorrow night here on the Sports Hub of the Panthers-Oilers as Edmonton won an overtime in Game 1. And Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers. Headlines brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. JohnSewer.com. I'm Joe Murray.
When breaking sports news happens in Boston,
News this morning, Marco Sturm.
it happens here.
Former Bruin, now current Bruins head coach. The hiring made official today.
Boston's home for breaking sports news and your flagship station for the Boston Bruins all year long. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's Musings. 98.5 The Sports. Skaz, have you tuned into the game at all? The Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Pacers, Thunder?
Yeah, it seems as though the Pacers have played about as poorly as you could play, and they're down 13.
So forget about the game. Like, forget about the score, I should say. Oh, the ratings are going to suck. I think, guys, I could enjoy watching these two teams play. I don't get to watch SGA often. When he played the Celtics twice this year, he was amazing. And I've seen a lot of the Pacers. They're good. So this isn't about the talent on the floor, but just, I'm working and I'm looking up at a TV. Where does it? I guess it says it there.
Yeah, under the score bug.
But, that's where,
put it back on the court.
Yeah.
Put it back on the court. Like Stanley Cup, put it back on the ice. Minimalism is ruining all of these
listen,
logos and designs.
I want people to... This isn't about the play on the court.
No.
The visual aspect, this looks like a regular season game.
Yes, put the trophy back on the court. Put it on the ice. Enough with the, minimalist bullcrap.
Man, Hallie doesn't have it tonight. Anyways, just a visual view. I'm just looking. I mean, I can tell I'm watching the College World Series on ESPN right now of the softball.
Good game.
But I can, I know it's the College World Series. You get what I'm saying?
Texas Tech. Battle.
This looks like a Western Conference game that I want to watch. Or that I missed the bet at 10 o'clock on, All right. Where should we start? Skaz, do you like M&M's?
The candy?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Do you like Skittles?
Yes.
Do you like Doritos?
Of the three, I would probably have them last, but sure.
M&M's, Skittles, and Doritos could be labeled not recommended for human consumption in Texas.
Yeah, Texas is a state that always has its priorities, right?
What's going on there?
This is a good question.
I
Joe.
told you, when I went to Dallas, it was too big. Whenever I had to go somewhere, it's just like a few blocks over. A few blocks over in Texas is 1.5 miles. Popular snacks such as Skittles, M&M's, and Doritos, and soft drinks like Mountain Dew could soon be labeled not recommended for human consumption if lawmakers in Texas have their way. The legislature is moving forward. And by the way, I hate politics, but this is about food. So, moving forward with a bill that would require warning labels on foods sold in the state that contain synthetic dyes, bleach flour, and other additives that are banned on the restricted list in other countries. The proposed measure mandates that in 2027 manufacturers include a contested ingredient ad clear labels that say warning. Now, when I was a kid, cigarette packs had warnings on them. Cigars, I believe, had warnings on them.
I would imagine they still do.
I think bongs, when I bought them, had a warning on it. Not that I ever bought bars. Of course I bought bars.
Who you lying to, Joe?
They're using Tell me that sometimes when I only have $5, I can get an Arizona iced tea for 99 cents. And if it has a warning label, damn it, I will drink it. And just one other thing. We're doing a social video. I don't know what Skaz's answer was. But Luke, our intern, asked us last night, what's your hottest take going right now? And my hottest take going is the Market Basket sandwich. Under $6 might be the best $6 you can spend these days. Skaz, they give you a large sub and cut it in half, and then they fold it into 2 subs, and they put it and they wrap it, and it says $5.69. And you look at it and you say, did they screw up? Do they only charge me for 1? And I love Mountain Dew, even though I don't drink soda anymore.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm putting way worse things into my body than Skittles and M&Ms.
Me too.
And I would imagine the majority of people in Texas are as well.
I would say that there are people in Texas who do worse. Hey, man, want to come over and eat some M&Ms tonight, man?
It's the worst thing you can do.
We used to do what was the drink? Four Loko, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh boy. You feel your heart pumping the next morning through your chest.
So my favorite drink growing up, like cheap, like no money, $2 St. Ides, man.
Don't even know what that is.
You don't? Oh, it's like a 40-ouncer. It comes in a 40.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with 40s.
And it's a flavored malt liquor.
Is them Old English?
Tastes like a beer. Yeah, exactly. Like we used to have Colt 45s.
Oh yeah, Steel Reserve.
Oh god, that stuff's awful. But you know what though? It was affordable. Again, we don't have homes in Nantucket, Skaz, or we don't live that.
Some of us don't have homes, Joe.
Yes. So again, if I can get a Mountain Dew and a Dorito for under $5, I think that's a good deal. Where was I going with this? You had something because we all I told you about my gas station confrontation.
Yes, so that is what reminded me. You mentioned there was an altercation at the gas station.
He put his hand up to me.
Yes,
and I got out of the car and yelled, and that's why I go now.
So, Joe, over the weekend, I went to a dispensary. You know, you gotta get your supplies for the weekend.
Did I ID you on the way in?
Yes, of course.
They asked for both your IDs? Or no, you don't have a. Okay, never mind.
No, just one ID. But Joe, as I'm pulling in, it's a smaller building, but it's a dispensary. Everyone should be in a pretty good mood. Should be relaxed.
Yeah, I just
take in the smells, sights, and sounds.
Exactly.
I pull in, Joe, and there's a little bit of a line. People waiting to park. Someone is attempting to back out of one of these spots. Guy puts it in reverse. I'm behind him. I put my car in reverse, let him back up. Gentleman pulls out of his spot and starts to drive away. As soon as he drives away, another car comes flying into the parking lot and just takes the spot. So it doesn't really cut me off, but he cuts off the guy in front of me that was, blinkers on, waiting for the spot. The guy whose spot he took loses his mind.
I would too.
Rightfully so.
Do you want to mess with somebody at a dispensary?
I don't really want to mess with anyone ever, Joe.
Okay,
I kind of just keep it to myself. But I understand. There was a handicap spot next to this open spot. The gentleman whose spot was taken rips into the handicap spot, window down, arms flailing, screaming at the guy. So I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go park behind the building. They got some parking. I go down there. I park. Walk around up to the building. So before you get into the dispensary, there's like a little walkway, a little hallway where you hand them your ID and stuff. As I get into that little room, I can hear yelling, borderline screaming in the dispensary. These two gentlemen going at it. So I am probably one of the only people that knows what happened outside. Everyone else is just dealing with what's going on inside. So I get inside. The gentleman who I believe to be the one that was screwed over is irate, screaming.
Did he bring you into it?
No.
Oh.
So
I was wondering if he was going to say, "Did you saw that, right?"
He eventually calms down, but the twist is, Joe, the gentleman who was doing the screaming and yelling, find out when I go to the parking lot, is the guy that cut everybody off. So he was in the wrong and losing his mind in the store, acting as if he was in the right. So then I almost felt bad because I should have interjected, but I had the parties confused because I thought, how could the guy that's screaming like this possibly be the guy that was the a-hole in the situation? So very entertaining, but it was...
but you got swerved.
Yes, I was...
Because you thought the person yelling would have been
wrong.
The person cut off.
Yes. But it was just a man who was in the wrong and defiantly in the wrong.
By the way, somebody who does something wrong and then yells about, that's a narcissist.
Yes, 100%. Self-centered, narcissist, all of the above.
And then plays the victim. Oh, I'm not going to go therapy terms on you right now, but that is what happens. Somebody who blames everybody else when they're in the wrong. It's a form of gaslighting almost, right?
Oh, it was gaslighting for sure.
Speaking of gaslighting at a dispensary, you know what? Can I tell you? I don't think I've had I think every time I go to the dispensary, I'm welcomed. I ask if I would like the free pre-roll. No sales tax for me. It's a pretty pleasant experience, guys.
I would say 99 times out of 100, Joe, no issues. And I had no issues inside. The people inside were tremendous. They were kind of like, what is going on here? Why are these guys freaking out?
They could also say, we're not serving you.
Yes.
Because they look hostile.
And they were. They were hostile.
They're called bud tenders, right? You got to be boys with these people. If they like you, they'll give you free merch and stuff. Like, what if they say, hey, do you want a free... Wait, sir, would you like to take advantage of our free pre-roll today?
I've gotten my fair share of free pre-rolls, Joe, just for being a nice guy. Just for having a smile and saying thank you.
That's what people don't understand is like they want to do things for you to come back. And if they have a system, a punch system, that shows how many times you've been there, how much it's kind of like the rewards card at a casino.
Or like, your local deli. You get 10 sandwiches, you get your 11th one free.
There you go. Well, next time I go to the dispensary, I'm going to tell you about my experience. But the last time I went, I got a guy. I go visit him. I go to Garden Remedies, which is right off of 99 and Route 1, right near Kowloon. Let me tell you, that's a great spot, let me tell you. Club Rain's across the street. No, now it's Mix 360. It's a great advertiser to our station. They own Game Time in Peabody, too. Right across the street, dispensary. I walk in. I meet the people in that little hallway that you're talking about. I open the door. I smell the smells. Hey, Mr. Murray, how are you? Hey, thank you. How are you today? Oh, great. What are you looking for today? Oh, you looking for a disposable or? Hey, anything you buy today over $50, you'll get a free pre-roll. Why, thank you. Would you like some pay? Wow, yes. Well, Joe, take a look at our iPad of great sativas. Thank you.
Please.
Would you like any chocolates, sir? Nah. Yeah. Oh, what do you got back there, though? I'm like that with the dessert menus, guys. You're out to eat, right? You're stuffed. You got nothing left. And when they come over, they go, "Anybody up for dessert or coffee or espresso?" And right, and then everyone's like, "No." And I go, "You know what? I just want to see it."
Let me get a look.
And everybody looks at me like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, we gotta look at it. The other thing is, the best move is to get dessert to go.
That's a veteran move right there. It's a pro move.
You don't want to eat it now? Let's get it.
Sometimes I'll go in, get an appetizer, have a drink, and then get the meal to go. And just...
Me and the
girlfriend
great.
will
Like,
do
go
that.
into, let's just hypothetically, you're at the mall, you see the Cheesecake Factory, you sit at the bar, you get a couple of Buffalo Blasts, and then you order, a cheesecake and, Pasta Da Vinci to go?
Yeah, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, my buddy was back from San Diego. Me and my girlfriend went out with him. We went to some. There's a new arcade in Taunton, free play arcade.
Ooh,
you just go and play, old, NBA Jam and Blitz and stuff in there, all free. So we went out, little Mediterranean place, got some apps, then got some lamb chops to go on the way home. Nothing better.
Do you know what's funny? We're late, right? Doesn't matter. All right, whatever.
It's 10 o'clock.
I have a confession to make.
These are my confessions.
These are my confessions. Or these are my concessions. Okay, hot food take. Ready? From a local spot near me. There's a place. I love this place. So this is not a shot. I'm complimenting them. I have learned in this new era of life, whatever era.
I'm not even sure I fully follow, Joe.
Okay. There's a place near me that I love. Love. Like, I swear by it. They know me. I go in, they know me. All right? They know me. But when I order let's say I leave here, right? And I call. They say, all right, 30 minutes. I'm there in 45 minutes. It's still not ready yet. They wait for you to get there before to bag your stuff. They don't want to put it in a bag and have you wait. But if I order it delivery, it's in my house before 30 minutes. So it's just better for me to deliver. I'll give the guy the extra whatever it is, $5. I don't know what it is. They had $3 for delivery. Guy gets an $8 tip. But you know what? It comes fast. But when I order it and I go there, it's longer. Makes sense. Yes, I love dedicated workstations. And I'm telling you right now, the dedicated workstation is... Anybody else that happened to? You're not following, are you? You think going to pick it up is faster than delivery?
I think it's very place dependent, I would say. And there are some foods that don't travel well either.
Do not travel well.
You know what food always travels well, I feel like, is Indian food. You get Indian food takeout or delivery, always great.
Well, they put it in a great little...
It's always
ramekin.
Good. So good.
Oh, what do you get? What do you get for Indian food?
I like to mix it up.
I'm a tikka masala.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say
you
that's.
Could give me 2 tubs of tikka masala and like 1 bowl of rice.
Done.
Give me some naan as well. I'll be dipping that naan. That was organic. What's today's date?
June 5th, Joe.
Man, we're already 5 days into June, huh?
Doesn't feel like it, but yes, we are.
All right, well, let's start off with some birthdays today. And, well, we got some big ones. How about let's start off with Kenny G, who is 69. Nice. Can we get some Kenny G in the last hour? Well, we only have a half hour left. Can we get some Kenny G before we leave? Ron Livingston, 58 years old. Brian McKnight's guys. Yeah.
Oh, Brian McKnight.
50. That's your guy.
Just to see his billboard driving home every night.
Happy birthday to Dorchester's own Mark Wahlberg, 54. Happy birthday to Liza Wheel. Happy birthday to Pete Wentz, 46 years old today. Also, happy birthday to, well, you got any?
It is Jeff Garland's birthday today. Curb Your Enthusiasm. The Goldbergs. Joe, it is also Rick Riordan's birthday today. Author. It is Kathleen Kennedy's birthday today. I think she did E.T. or she's involved in E.T. and Jurassic Park, stuff like that. Not seeing too much. I always look for wrestlers, Joe. I'm not seeing any wrestlers tonight.
He's not on one of the top lists.
He's on mine, but a little ways down.
Should we give respect to the owner?
84th birthday. Happy birthday to Mr.
dancing?
Robert Kraft.
You think he's with Cardi B? maybe he's with Lil Wayne.
Oh, album release party.
Oh my God, where is that? Lil Wayne's is that can you buy tickets to that? Or is it a private party?
That feels like a private party.
He likes hot dogs.
Sliced.
Me too. All right.
You say Bob Probert, Joe?
Oh, he's a fighter.
Big time fighter.
Man, Kenny G was a star, bro. That dude, man, he could play the fiddle. Whatever the hell he played.
It's a sax, right? KG, right? KG, the big Kenny G guy?
He's the real KG. Or is he? I could hum a lot of those songs. You know, him and Yanni, I used to always kind of get mixed up as a kid. They kind of look alike, no?
I couldn't pick Yanni out of a lineup. I don't know what he looks like.
All right. We going to break or headline? What are we doing right now?
Coming up on the Sports Hub. Everybody knows Joe.
Just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
One part, Jesse sang the other. What Brokerage Babe just wrote in the chat is absolutely right. Oh, man. That Scaz at night in the 90s.
Hachi Machi, some would say.
There was between the sheets, like, she's playing hard to get. She's been warning you. Like all that.
Brian McKnight.
Yeah, one last cry or whatever he had. One. All that. Like there was between the sheets, and then there was little bedtime stuff. Somebody goes, it's kind of weird. Somehow Kenny G was a sex symbol, right? Michael Bolton. Like, I don't see it, but like George Michael, I got George Michael down. Dude's bumping his hips at me, and I'm like, I gotta have faith.
Somebody clip that, please.
All right. This is my childhood. I just want you to know that. I couldn't get away from Whitney Houston, Michael Bolton, Kenny G. I couldn't get away from them. George Michael. They're all in my face. Paul Abdul. Madonna? How many times I watch Madonna and Dick Tracy? All right, while you get that, let's talk to Chris. Chris is in Braintree. Chris.
Hey, Joe. Yeah, I own a pizzeria, and I just want to tell you you're not crazy, that the deliveries do come out first.
Okay. What, you're in Braintree?
Well, my restaurant's in Situate, but, yeah, it's not like we put them out first. It's a guessing game, right? So if I have 10 slips, the old saying is you better underpromise, over-deliver, right? So you kind of get like, you say 45 minutes, you're kind of guessing, and then it's like, all right, the tickets I'm making is not supposed to be ready for half hour. Well, I don't want it sitting in the bag getting soggy and cold. Yeah. So send the delivery out early because odds are you're probably just sitting at your house in your underwear, smoking a joint, waiting for your food.
Literally.
And you don't care that the pizza shows up early, right? So
you're right.
You're happy. So I send that order out first, and I try to time out my pickups to be exact so the pizza comes out hot when the guy gets there.
Chris, you literally understood everything I was saying.
That's it.
Were you nodding your head like, yeah, he's right. He's right.
I was sitting in my car driving home from my pizza shop going, did this guy get it? Yeah, this guy gets it.
What's your pizza shop? What's the name of it?
CP's Wood Fired Pizza in Situate.
Oh, wood fire, huh?
Oh, yeah. All scratch made. I get everything right from Naples, Italy. Flown in every week.
You got any dessert back there? What do you got?
Oh, yeah. We do homemade s'mores. My 75-year-old mother makes homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Oh.
We do like a whipped cream pie with a chocolate mousse on a graham cracker crust.
Oh, my God.
We do everything.
Why so much s'mores? Were you like a outdoorsman?
Well, I mean, I figure wood fired, right? You have a big giant fire, roast some s'mores in the fire.
That's true.
But we do it we do a little different. We do it with like pizza dough, chocolate marshmallow, and then I coat the dough with cinnamon sugar. We roast them off. Do a little homemade icing and a little powdered sugar. So it's kind of like a half of a s'more, half a beignet. It kind of looks like a beignet when it comes out.
S'more.
S'more.
Chris, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Right. Have a great night, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Let's hear the Kenny G. Brian McKnight. Careless whisper.
Apparently, there's some others too, but that was the most popular. We'll have to work them in.
Might have to pop that one in on the way home, baby.
Oh, Brian McKnight, he'll get you going. Man, I mean, I still got the Regulate, and that's in the rotation all the time now.
I forget we're not in love anymore. All right, well, this basketball game has become interesting, Scaz. Why don't we take a break? And we'll see if we can give some sort of update before we go home tonight here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. are just his pregame.
They've been getting wholesale deals for years.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hall.
The woods. But I feel like you're a city kid for the most part.
Out in the woods. Yeah, Rainham, small town.
There's woods out there.
Yeah.
Like, I was a city kid. Where the hell are we getting s'mores?
I'm out on marshmallow. Not a marshmallow guy.
I used to eat them before bed because it would fill my belly. Like, it would be, my what a night of drops, huh? Well, I've been full of drops all night long.
Better than being full of other stuff.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we have a 107-99 game, Oklahoma City, Indiana. The problem for the Pacers is that they got this foul shot merchant named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous? Shai, SGA?
The Canadian.
He's a merchant. Does he get every call? Is this, the turnovers haven't been great, huh? I mean, if I was, on Cavs, whoop, is that Aaron Nesmith with a three? Wow. Again, 108-102. 2 minutes to go. This guy gets all the calls. But if I was doing Indiana radio, I would tell you that if they didn't turn the ball over 20 times, they would have won the game. Is that fair to say? Is that a stretch? Hey, just don't turn the ball over. Actually, how many times has it been?
Don't play awful for the first, 3 quarters. But I think this could be a little bit of a, I don't want to say scare for Oklahoma City, but they played really well and the Pacers have not. And the Pacers are hanging around.
Turnovers for the Pacers tonight, 24. The Pacers just hit another 3. They're down 3 points with just under 2 minutes to go. So we won't have it for you here. Turn on over to the game. Tomorrow night, we're here 7 to 8 p.m. Then we'll hand things over to the Stanley Cup Final Game 2. And if the game doesn't go in overtime, we'll be on until midnight. Thank you for everybody for hanging out. We'll get a great little finish here. Pacers in Oklahoma City, 1:37 to go. Pacers. Oh, no foul called. A little bit of home court advantage. Wow. And, of course, wow. That's some home cooking right there, dude. Home cooking. I think they just made it up a little bit there. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's 1:10.